Welcome to We Talking About Sports. It's Thursday night. It's draft night, boys. Are we
It's that time of the
excited
year.
about this draft or not?
Hell yeah, football's in the air. It's the start of the NFL calendar, if you will. I mean, if you consider, I guess, free agency and all the contracts that were being signed, the official start of the season, then I'll give you that. But the draft is here. Like when something's in the air, you're thinking of something, you start to imagine things. Not so much NFL related, although we might hear his name thrown around a little bit. I could have sworn on the way back from the gym today, or from working out, I saw Ryan Day on the side of the street. I'm in San Antonio. There's no way I saw Ryan Day, but I have football in my mind right now. The NFL draft is here. I got my Cowboys sweater on, my Cowboys hoodie. That's the other thing I like about the draft. It's a signal of hope for all teams out there. You get a new player on your team, find things that you like about them, how you can, possibly improve your standings for next year. So there's a lot to like about the draft. And then who knows if there's going to be a surprise pick. That's the other thing you got to look out for. So
Yeah.
yeah, excited to be here chopping it up with you guys.
We got a lot of background audio. I don't know if it's one of y'all's TVs that's coming in right now.
Not
Coming in
I.
hot.
Could be me. But I'll lower right now.
I think it might be. But best available. Let's talk some best available already, Roland. It seems like it's Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter on the list for best available to get with. I do see people reaching up. It seems like today the talk was that the Bears were going to go all the way up to 5, take a swing and try to get Ashton Genty. They retooled their offense last season. They needed that running back presence to help Caleb Williams. Do you think that's a good setup if they were to go ahead and try to get something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends how much you're giving up. I mean, don't get me wrong. What I was going to say about this draft and in general, didn't want to talk too much on the top, but chopping it up here, this draft, there's maybe like 3 to 5, like what you would call blue chip guys, right? Like there's the cream of the crop prospects, top of the top. Like, and I'm talking about, you can place them pretty much in every draft and they'd be considered blue chip, or at least in relative to their to their draft mates, at least this year. There's maybe about 3 to 5 guys. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, 2 of the guys that you mentioned, they're going to be picked at the top of the draft. But that's what makes this draft so intriguing. And just to answer your question about Genty, I probably wouldn't do that for a running back. If he slides to 10, I think the Bears ought to take him. He can do everything that you want out of the backfield. I know there's questions. He came from Boise. What's the level of competition like, right? Playing in what are they now playing? Are they still in the Mountain West for football, or are they playing? I'm sure it's something else now with all the the mergers of the conferences. But the schedule still not up to par with some of the SEC or the Big 12 prospects, what they're playing week in and week out. But Jonty, it didn't matter who he lined up against. He was going to put up 200 yards, and he was the focus point or focal point for every defense every single week this year. And he still put up 200 yards plus pretty much damn near every week. And he did good against, heightened competition. I think he played Penn State this year, and he fared pretty well against them. So yeah, Jonty's a can't miss prospect. Would I go all the way up to 5 for him and do some kind of King's ransom deal, or I don't know what it would take to get up there? Probably not. But if he's there at 10, I'd take him for sure. But also too, if you're drafting a running back, you got to be a team that either you need like a punch, like on offense. Like that's why I don't know why the Patriots aren't considering somebody like Jonty or one of the weapons out there. They're going for Campbell, the tackle out of LSU. They kind of got boxed out of Carter and Hunter. But if you're going for running back, you got to be one step away, or maybe you're just desperate for a punch on offense. So like if you're the Cowboys, for example, this is where I'm going back to. If you're the Cowboys, I wouldn't take Jonty. You got a lot of other holes to fill, and running back in terms of its value in the NFL, it's towards the bottom of the totem pole, meaning you can find guys in the 3rd or 4th round that can come and give you day one production, depending on kind of how you're set up, and the guy that you're drafting, of course, has to come in and do the work. But in terms of, I heard somebody bring it up on a podcast, in terms of total contract value, the most valuable running back is their contract is in the teens. You're talking like 17, 18 million, right? So at the end of the day, spending that high of a pick on a running back is probably not advised. But sorry for the long-winded answer, but Jonty, he is a can't-miss prospect. So whoever gets him is going to get a stud, is what I'll say.
Yeah, definitely. Now you were talking about some blue chippers. Like, who do you identify as the blue chippers? Personally, I feel like it's very limited this draft.
Yeah,
I don't even like the quarterbacks coming out of this draft. Cam Ward, to me, I mean, when you watched him play throughout the season, they were lucky to win a lot of those games. They were getting bailed out by the refs left and right. I'm not big on Cam Ward either, and it seems like he's a consensus number one pick at this point, Roland. So who do you define as the blue chippers? I know you can probably put Abdul Carter on that list and Jalen Walker. Who else do you really think is a blue chipper in this draft?
Travis Hunter. I mean, you talk about one of the best overall talents that's come out in a while. I mean, he's played wide receiver and cornerback at the same time better than anybody we've ever seen do it. And, you know, there's talks of him wanting to continue to have that usage rate in the NFL, although I think he's going to be playing receiver more than corner. And to me, I think at the receiver position, Travis Hunter's can't miss. So I would put him in that blue chip. I'd put John T in that blue chip because those guys, it's very hard for me to see John T failing at the next level. That's also how you kind of got to look at it. Will Campbell too, I think you can almost put in blue chip, but people are, you know, nitpicking the size. He's not necessarily, you know, he doesn't fit the mold for what you'd want to see out of a first round or a top 5 offensive tackle. People question his, you know, his arm length, but all that I hear about Campbell is that he got thrown into the fire as a freshman at LSU, and you know he did nothing but step up and was a leader of that locker room. So I think Campbell's a can't miss guy. He's going to be maybe top 10, top 15 at the position for the duration of his career, I would think.
Yeah, first pick is in. Cam Ward to Tennessee. Ron, Columbia's own. What do you think about that pickup for Tennessee?
Oh man, it doesn't really matter. Tennessee's like garbage anyway. So, touching on running backs real quick. Pause. Your boy Trayvon Henderson.
Yeah, and he's another there too.
Huh?
But both Ohio State boys, Trayvon Henderson, and Quinshawn.
Yeah. So going back to running backs, obviously Gentry, like Roland was saying, but dude, this guy's a national champ.
Damn it, boy! Hey, breaking news: Jaguars trade up to the number 2 pick. They got Shefty. They got Shefty on the screen here saying that the Jags are now on the clock.
And they're going to draft Jonty at 2. They probably got scared that someone else was going to who were you saying was going to trade up for them? The Bears?
The Bears were steamed to trade up to get the
nice. We got some action early. I like that. Good breaking news, Ben.
I was going to say there better be a lot of trades because there's just been a bunch of talk, but I don't see how you don't trade up for Genty.
Oh, you traded for Hunter. Yeah, Hunter's the other guy. Yeah, Hunter. My bad. I just I knew they wanted Jonty or they were linked to him in some of the later mock drafts. But yeah, Hunter.
I think that yeah. But hey, real quick, I mean, everybody, welcome. You know, we got a bunch of people here in the comments with us. We got Eddie, like usual. Stevie Ray here saying, "What are we talking about sports?" You know,
that's NRG Inc. right there.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Shout out NRG Inc. We got Josh in the chat. Ryan has joined us. The boys are back in town. Let's go.
Hey, back to what do you think about Cam Ward, Ben? You know, started out Incarnate Word, transferred to Washington State, ends up at Miami. One thing you can say, production everywhere. You know, despite what Justin was saying, a lot of close games as a team. But, I mean, he balled out. And without him, that team is like a 4-win team or something. So, Cam Ward was a baller this year. What do you think about him?
My least favorite part of the draft is when they put up the player comparisons. And they just put up his player comparison. And, of course, they put Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. They did Zach Wilson. Yeah, Zach Wilson also got that comp.
I hate that shit. Roland, I think that he's like a supreme athlete. I don't know if he's like the ultimate like leader and winning quarterback. I think that he does play – a lot of backyard football in college for the most part at Miami. I like the story. I mean, shout out him going to Incarnate Word, right? Here in San Antonio, now to being the number 1 pick in the draft. It was kind of, I would say, we didn't think that he was going to be the number 1 pick. Coming into the season, the odds for him going number 1 were pretty crazy. You know, he didn't win the Heisman, but he was a finalist up there with Travis Hunter. The Titans, you know, they whiffed on the Mayo Boy a couple of years ago, and here they go taking their shot. As a Texans fan, I don't like it. I don't like when any division opponent gets the number 1 pick and they get, you know, a shot at a franchise quarterback. You got Trevor Lawrence, who was the number 1 pick for the Jags. You got now Cam Ward, number 1 pick for the Titans, and the Colts spent a very high pick on Roland's boy AR-15. So
yeah, I don't want to be associated with Anthony Richardson at this stage. But
and then you got the Texans, who with their number 2 pick, they take C.J. Stroud also. So that whole division is made up of top 5 quarterback picks in the last 6 years.
Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter, that's a pretty nice pairing. If Travis Hunter ends up making out as a good receiver, which
are we all expecting him to be a receiver primarily?
Yeah,
I think it would be foolish to have him play anything but receiver. He should be your primary slot receiver at this point.
95%. I think he's going to play wide receiver.
What if the Jags go Abdul Carter here?
Nah, they won't. They got the other Georgia back from 2 years ago.
And I think Trevor Lawrence is kind of. I think they paid him recently, but they got to get him to produce. So they're trying to put as much talent on the field for him.
That would just be like a crazy pivot, Ron, to go defense. Like I would just be so shocked. I'm not saying it's not possible. I like what you're saying here, but it would just shock me that they wouldn't try to get their their quarterback that they kind of put the team around.
So the breakdown of the trade right here. The Browns.
The pick is in.
Yeah, the Jaguars got a 1st, a 5th, and a 7th, and the Jaguars gave up this year's 1st, next year's 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd. It said to move up. Pretty steep.
Not that bad
already, Ben.
You don't think so?
I mean, it's kind of I thought it was that's kind of fair. I didn't think anything was kind of crazy with that trade.
Damn, the Browns have 3.
But just to wrap it up on Cam Ward, though, as a prospect and at the next stage, I think he will be a career starter. I don't think he'll flame out. I think he'll end up making out as a starting quarterback. How good will he be? I don't know, but I do like the prerequisites, like as a quarterback and baseline going in. Good understanding of the offense. He has a quick release. He knows what he wants to do with the ball. Kind of gets lazy at times. Played a lot out of the shotgun. So there's a lot of the one thing I don't like about he stands up straight, almost flat-footed throwing the ball sometimes. Yeah. But really quick release, pretty accurate with the ball. Has a supreme confidence. There's all those videos of him and Shador going back and forth on the workout field. And his confidence, it really shows there and out on the field. So I think
he's a competitor. You can tell, like the way those videos you showed that he was competitive.
Yeah, supreme competitor. That's what you want from your leader, from your quarterback. So I think he'll do just fine. We'll see what kind of weapons he has. I know he's got Calvin Ridley. They just signed Tyler Lockett. I don't know who their running back is right now. Tony Pollard, shout out, former Cowboy.
TP.
Yeah, so Cam Ward, I think he'll be nice. So we'll see.
Hey, do we want to go over any draft action that we may have?
Go ahead. I know you got some picks for the first round, so tell us your first round stuff.
I have Travis Hunter being the number 2 pick, and it kind of scares me when, the Browns are calling him a unicorn like Ohtani was what the GM was saying. He was minus 2,400 to go number 2, and now you got the Jags trading up. They've been linked to Genty, but you don't trade up to number 2 to take a running back. I mean, the pick is in. Here comes the commish.
Well, it's the Jaguars. But they already have a first-round running back on their roster. They got Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. So.
He's always hurt, though.
This is where my action starts. It better be Hunter, boys. They're introducing the man of the year and shit, man. Give us the pick.
Straight up.
Man of the year.
Knicks up 64-50 on the Pistons.
Is that halftime?
About to be. OG leading the way with 18 points for the Knicks. They must have got Sonny Lee in the crowd.
Hey.
I have under 2.5 quarterbacks also in the first round, and I thought that looked really good up until this morning.
Yeah, something
when
on
that. The Saints all of a sudden love Jackson Dart.
I think that's smoke.
I do too. I think that they take the edge that edge rusher Williams.
At what point does it take? What draft pick do we see defense get picked?
Ray, what do you mean by this?
You're in the top 5.
Top 5? You think it'll be Abdul Carter, or Jalen Walker, or Mason Graham?
Is he saying a speech? I have my volume down.
He is.
Shit, shout out to everybody watching. We appreciate you guys in the chat, man.
No one's got time for that.
Well, what is the chat saying? Who we got in the chat? We got Ray in the chat now.
Real quick. They're probably going to bring up. Oh, here's a pick then. Never mind. No, not yet.
Yeah, the chat's live now, so everybody
Bro.
can see what's up on the screen. What?
Cowboys at
Tell me,
12,
Wade, who'd you
Josh.
get?
I
Who'd we
think we're
get?
gonna draft a guard out of Alabama.
No, wide receiver.
I think we're
Cowboys
gonna go
wide
running back.
receiver.
That's a good debate though, because for
Bolden?
the longest time, Cowboys, the whole draft process. Now that we're just gonna get into it, start talking about the Cowboys. Travis Hunter just drafted. Shout out Travis Hunter, Heisman winner.
Travis
girl
Hunter
there.
at 2.
There it is.
Damn, to the Jags, bro. I hate having him in our.
That sucks, bro.
Any chance they're gonna let him do defense here? Like, no, right? It's gotta
I
be
don't think
receiver
so.
only.
I think he does both.
But yeah,
It just doesn't seem sustainable in the NFL to do both. 100 and some
No, it
snaps
doesn't.
the way he was doing in college just doesn't seem
it
sustainable.
doesn't. He's gonna have his hands full playing receiver.
That's crappy marketing.
you
for
seen
him,
Shador
too,
Sanders
like,
yet?
Out of Jacksonville.
He's not at the draft, Roland.
But we haven't seen him yet though. And there's no coverage at his.
Yeah,
Put
we
his
saw
own
him a little
draft.
bit earlier. He had a humongous chain, like the biggest chain I ever seen on a human.
Nah, in your whole
And
lifetime.
he's at home somewhere. I don't think he's here.
Did
So
the party look lit? Did it look
They
like
said
a
he
lot of
made a
people?
room.
lot
He
of
made
cameras?
his own draft room.
I don't know. I really couldn't
Interesting.
tell if it was popping or not.
Yeah,
Travis Hunter.
Ray doesn't like the pick either.
I mean,
I
I
think
think he
him
doesn't
and
like
Brian-
him going to Jacksonville.
Him and Brian Thomas are going to be nice together. It's just a matter of what's Trevor Lawrence going to do with the ball.
Yeah, now you got an inside-out game with this guy in here. So
Yeah,
But what was the Jags' record last year? They didn't make the playoffs.
not
right?
very good. I mean, they're drafting 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, duh, right? But
Yeah.
like,
Hey, Ron. Yeah.
hey,
But yeah,
hey,
you know
hey,
what?
I cornered it
Hey,
badass because I
hey,
cornered it
To
bad.
answer Josh's question, though, I do think Cowboys are just going to do the prudent thing. They're one of those teams. They fit under the category of they got a lot of holes to fill this offseason.
yeah,
And they're not necessarily going to knock it out of the park and everything's going to be fine with one pick. Like, hey, we drafted Zeke that one year and the offense popped off. So there's a couple other things brewing.
we already had
before
that line.
Yeah,
ready
exactly.
For them,
There's a couple other stuff brewing, and we got to revamp the line. Justin just brought it up. Just
Yeah.
lost one of the greatest of all time at their position.
Well, here's the thing: there's some good linemen in this draft, and we're drafting. Would you rather them get CD help or just address the line?
I'd just rather them address the line with the best possible guy. I don't want them to try and address the line in a second or third round and have a guy that's not ready to go day one. And we're worried about what's going on. I want a guy that's plug and play if we're going to draft an offensive lineman. And the only way to do that is to draft him in the first round and draft a guy out of Alabama. I mean,
That's what
it's hard to
it
miss.
shows. Yeah,
You all wouldn't like to have your pick of the litter at this wide receiver class. I mean, I think they have 2, possibly 3 wide receivers going in the first round. So it's between that Arizona receiver and then Golden for Texas.
I was a huge Tet McMillan guy coming into the college football season. There's a lot of hype on him. And even throughout the season, thought he played pretty good, although it's probably not as good as the year prior. But throughout this whole draft process, he's one of the guys that kind of got nitpicked.
you got stank on him right now. With the whole
not really in the
talk.
film room. They say he takes plays off when he's not involved in the offense. Doesn't have a very deep route tree. So that kind of stuff worries me. And I say all that to say that I still might even be a Tet guy over the other guy, Matthew Golden,
Really?
who's kind of shot up in the draft process because I really haven't seen too much of him at the college level. I thought he played good in spurts. I don't think he was dominant. He was in a deep wide receiver room at Texas, so I'll give him that. He was in a deep offense. I mean, they had 2 stud running backs too, so a lot to
He was
share
nice
in
at
that
Houston
offense.
as well, though.
Yeah, true. So I mean,
that's when the Raider got. He put us on notice that game. We played him his junior year, or his sophomore
Giants
year. That's
and he ran a
no.
4.29 in the
QB.
40. So you
Yeah.
I
gotta
think
like
the
that,
combine really boosted him up to being,
for sure.
possibly the first wide receiver taken.
his pro days where he ran that stupid 40, where it was like, okay, this guy went next level.
He has been rumored to the Cowboys. I mean, there has been some mock drafts that have the
Who did the
Cowboys
Giants
getting.
get? Who did the
So
Giants
has
get?
the guard from Alabama, though.
Yeah, both of those. So it's just,
Yeah.
and then you had Jerry about 2 days ago saying we haven't finalized our draft board. So
Yeah.
I guess the
Prediction.
Giants will probably take.
Prediction,
they've
yeah.
been slotted with Abdul Carter the whole time,
that's
so we'll see.
and they're
Ben, who
used
do you
to
think?
having
Carter
guys.
too?
I think
You
Carter.
think Giants
also-
go Carter
They're
too?
a team though too that they need a quarterback. And the guy that they were linked to the whole time before this slide, right, was
Yeah.
Shador. And there's also talk that I listened to a couple podcasts with that guy Peter Schrager out of ESPN now, saying that they've done just the same amount of homework on Shador on Jackson Dart. So he's trying to make the case that Shador to New York is not really like a true connection because they've done the same amount of homework on Jackson Dart. And so that's where it's like, well, they'll probably end up taking Abdul Carter, but I mean, if you're the Giants, what they're going to roll out, I mean, again, too, they're probably rolled out the plan of Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, and that's what they're going to do this year. But you also got to think, too, and this is the other angle. Look, they're showing it now on the TV. You got two guys that are, fighting for their lives right now. Brian Dable, I mean, he was one of the hottest coaching prospects, as a coordinator out of Buffalo, came in, had success, took Danny Dimes to his heights, and where we thought that, and he got Danny Dimes paid pretty much off that 1 year when they went to the playoffs and ended up beating the Vikings. Or I don't know, I don't remember they won or lost that game, but yep, Abdul Carter.
There it is.
There you go.
The Giants have had an MO for having, good edge rushers.
Yeah, and I was getting to they have Thibodeau.
To be completely honest, their Giants, their defense last year was solid. It's just their offense that was trash. They were like a sleeper fantasy pick on a couple, like how do you say it? Fucking when you get one streaming. Yeah, they were good. They were a good streaming defense, and I remember a lot of the games watching and being like, "Oh shit, they're young, they're talented.
They got some nice pieces.
They just need a better offense."
I like
the 3 picks, but we got the defense here, man. Let's go.
I like Thibodeau. Hey, well, that's even more reason for the Cowboys to go line, right?
And Lawrence, one of the best defensive tackles in the game.
So next best available is Genty, followed by Jalen Walker and Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan.
Giants building a nice little defensive line there. Going to have one of the better front fours if this guy pans out. And which, I mean, he's just another Micah Parsons. So same number, same position, same motor.
They're reporting also that the Browns are interested in even moving back from number 5 still. So that kind of leads you to think maybe they do go Shador if they keep moving back and just accumulating picks.
So yeah, the Browns are in a weird position too.
Who they got as quarterback right now? We got Deshaun and Flacco, right?
Deshaun Watson, Flacco, yeah.
Shane Falco, got him too.
Ron might next season for them.
Best fit for the Pats says Armand Membo from Mizzou, 6'4", 332-pound offensive tackle.
Yeah, they're going to go O-line, but it might be the other guy, what, Thompson or Thomas? Campbell.
Because we all know Drake May showed the fuck out.
Campbell out of LSU. But yeah, that's a good name that you brought up, Ron. He's going to be drafted really high, Membo. And he's a guy like we were talking with Golden. He kind of shot up through the draft process as well. And he's the guy that he fits the build of your prototypical offensive tackle versus Campbell, who he might have a little bit shorter arms or something like that. But New England. I mean,
what about Kelvin Banks here? I mean, that guy he's so good all season.
They're another team that to me. They need to get better in a lot of areas. Although I do think they hit with May. I think May is going to be a good quarterback for them.
Hell yeah.
But for
them, my fantasy quarterback next year.
What I was saying, they're just deficient of offensive talent. Like they can't compete really with what they have out there now. Didn't they go out? They signed Stephon Diggs this offseason. And so I mean that's something, right? To get your young receiver. They'll probably draft a receiver in this draft later on, but.
But keep in mind they do have a defensive coach now, right? So
Vrabel.
You don't think he'd want to get a defensive guy?
I think they go O-line. Chody's in the comment section saying O-line. I think that they invested in Drake May. They think that he's the franchise guy. He showed. I want to know where Joe T's at, man. Joe T was.
Yeah. No, he's disappointed that they got boxed out of the
Travis
Hunter and Abdul Carters of the world.
But like here,
I
know it's not the Patriots' way, but Genty would even make sense just to give that offense some pop,
punch.
Bro.
Exactly. They fit into the category. They might need some pop on their offense because they were trying to run out Stevenson as their best offensive player last year, and we saw how that worked out for them. You just looked at they're one of the teams when we were doing their breakdown. You look at their roster, and you just knew they weren't going to sniff more than 5 wins with that offense. And that was it. So, wow, Shador nowhere to be found on the camera. The people were making conspiracies.
Damn,
They're
he hasn't
saying
taken his seat yet.
they're saying like, by the amount of access that you have to him, like on draft night, that could tell you kind of their confidence and where they're going to go. Like, obviously, if they know that they're going to be drafted, they're going to have all the cameras there ready for him to get, that phone call and, for that moment. But if it's kind of like a hush hush thing, it's probably because they're in the dark and they don't know if it's going to be a day one thing. And I mean, you heard it throughout the draft process when Shador was at the top of the draft board. There were people saying we don't have him in the first round. He's not a first round prospect, and people were like, "What?" And now it's kind of coming to reality. Now he's in the 20s.
There was that crazy statement that came out. It says assistant GM said that he was like one of the worst quarterbacks he's ever
interviewed or something
interviewed
like
and shit.
Yeah.
Hey, well, so let's give our predictions on Shador Sanders, and in the chat, give your predictions. Do we think that he goes day one?
Top 5? Oh, okay.
And I'm starting to feel like just seeing this visual where he's not even sitting on the couch. Like, did he get word like, "Hey, it's not happening this round"? Like,
no, you know what's gonna happen, Justin?
What's happening?
It's gonna be some WWE type shit, bro. Like all the lights are gonna go off. Yeah, all the lights are gonna go off at the draft.
Brown's on WrestleMania time still.
And then the lights are gonna come on, and there's gonna be smoke like on like the couch where he was sitting, and then he's gonna be sitting there wearing like his dad's throwback shoes or some shit like that, like a crazy Dion haircut with the chain with the Jerry curl. That's gonna happen.
I think that he's not there. I mean, I don't think that he's going top 10. I think that he's going to the Steelers
at 21.
Personally, at 21. But so why are you gonna sit on the couch if you're gonna go at pick 21? Probably like 2.5 hours into the show.
True.
Like you go post.
But then again, you got Jalen Milroe who's here at the draft tonight in person, and he's probably not getting picked up either. Like,
true.
I don't know what to read into that.
What do you think about Jake saying that New England's wanted to get Hunter? Does it make sense because they're kind of taking a while to pick? I mean, you would think at the third pick or fourth pick in the draft, you would have your guy.
Yeah,
let's see if the pick is in here after the commercial. Didn't they used to have the ticker during the commercials?
Yeah,
what are we doing here?
We should have proper
What are we doing?
No
during the commercial. That's crazy, ESPN. That's crazy work.
Yeah.
Hey,
Shad Echel says here, Patriots should trade down and get more picks. They might be on the phone right now. If their guy got taken, I mean, why not just pass up a little bit and get a few more picks?
Especially if you don't consider too many of these guys to be, blue chip prospects or guys worth taking at that spot. They're at 4. That kind of goes too, like with the Cowboys pick, just going back there, because it's kind of the same thing. As do you take the guy in the offensive guard that is gonna, for sure, solidify a need on a true offensive line is one of the number one needs that a team needs to fill and make sure that's good to go going into a season. If your offensive line is in disarray going into the season, your season's almost shot going into it. You're gonna have to be trying to figuring things out on the go. So do you do that and draft a guy like Booker or offensive lineman at that spot, or do you take a chance on a guy like Golden or a guy like Tet who could potentially maybe be a superstar or a star at their position? Because if you're drafting a lineman at this high, you'd want him to be a top 10 lineman at some point in his career, or a top 10 at his position at least, right? I mean, drafting top 10, top 12-ish. So that's kind of the debate you have to take.
And Jerry does like these big receivers, so if Ted's there, I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to make a play on that, Roland.
I'm out, boys. Enjoy the draft.
See you around.
Have fun.
Hey, does Shador get drafted today, Ron, or no?
Fuck it. I think the Browns get him, Wayne.
The Browns.
If the Browns don't get him real quick, who do the Browns get? Because they need everybody over there.
Yeah, I don't know who the Browns are.
Right? It's like, fuck it. Like, we already fucked up with Deshaun. Like, how worse can it get?
They're just so locked into that contract regardless with Deshaun, man. It's a tough situation.
All right, but we'll see you, Ron. Have a good night. Have a good dinner.
Later, boys.
All right,
thanks everybody who was in the chat.
Campbell,
appreciate that.
Offensive lineman.
Campbell. So they're stuck to it the Patriot way.
Vrabel too. I'm gonna want to get a lineman that kind of fits a defensive guy's MO too. Also, you want to get the trenches set up. Yeah,
6'6", 319. This is a big dude, man. Started early. He's a train, so it makes sense. Best tackle still available will be the Tackle out of Missouri, Armand Membu, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, and Kelvin Banks from Texas. We saw what Kelvin Banks did this season. I think if he's there when the Cowboys are picking, man, I would love to get a guy like that because he
He's
can
not
really
gonna be
anchor
there
a
then.
line, man. He really can.
He's been getting a lot of steam though through
Yeah, I
Justin
know.
to get picked in the top 10. His number was at 13.5, and then it got moved to 7.5.
Were you talking Membu?
No,
Talking
Banks.
Kelvin Banks.
Banks.
So Ashton Genty's still not on the board,
Browns on the clock.
Yeah.
but the Browns are here. Do they get
trade-
the pop in him? Or
I
do
think
they go
that trade
defense,
back-
man? Would they be
or
crazy to do more defense? Another defensive lineman to help Miles?
I mean, man, that's a good question. I don't know what the Browns are gonna do.
They're the wild card. You just
They're a
can't,
wild card
you can't,
team. They're like the
like
Raiders.
whatever makes the most sense. You could probably say, you know what, they're not doing that because this is the Browns.
Okay, so what do you think about? Let's skip the Browns because you really can't. Because honestly, to me, I thought it was crazy that they were just slotted to Travis Hunter was just slotted to them. I thought that was kind of like out of left field. I was like, well, I guess like you can use like a top of the line receiver if you're the Browns. Like you have Jerry Jeudy, couple other weapons there to work with, but yeah, I thought it was kind of a weird pick to begin with. So going back though, just what I was going to say, what do you think about the Raiders? Do you think the Raiders are going to end up taking Jonty? And do you think that that's the proper pick for them to take? It kind of makes sense. You got Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll had
Carroll's
Marshawn
back.
Lynch all those years, although he didn't give it to him there at the 1 yard line, but still likes his running game.
You learn your lessons sometimes with these things. You know what I mean?
What do you like about Jonty to the Raiders?
I'm trying to look at the what they have right now. Let me look at their team.
They drafted that Georgia tight end last year, who ended up being a beast, probably the best tight end of the whole league. Excuse me, in the whole NFL.
Brock Bowers. All right, they
yeah.
got Trey Tucker, receiver. Kyle Phillips, a receiver. So they need help there as well. Jacoby Myers is their main guy. At running back, they got Mostert over by the Dolphins. So they got some speed.
And age. Mostert's
Sincere
gotta be touching,
McCormick,
like,
Zamir
32.
White, they could use help at running back.
Shout out McCormick, UTSA guy. Shout out Mike Gonzalez. Shout out Mikey. He's in the chat. He's a Cowboys fan, tried and true, Justin. Went to college with him. He's saying Cowboys better trade up for Jonty so the Raiders don't get him. He's been in the camp of Jonty to the Cowboys. He wants us to draft another running back. Would you be mad at running back for the Cowboys in the early stages of the draft, first round or second round?
Depends on the name. If it's Jonty, of course, like you just pick him up. You have to at that point, right? Like he fell to you. I don't think he's falling, so that's like a dream. If it's Travion Henderson, I'm absolutely down. He's a workhorse. The only problem is he got injured a lot during college. He missed a lot of games. But when he's on the field, that breakaway speed is some of the best breakaway speed by a running back you can see on the field. So I would like him. If it's like a gimmick, like a Cam Scatterable, I don't really want him. If that's what they're trying to do, like something crazy like that. Quinshawn's all right too. You know, he tore up at Ole Miss a lot, and he split running back time with Travion Henderson this year. So, to be honest, I really want Golden. That's my guy. I want Golden more than anything.
We're kind of doing what the Giants are doing at quarterback, but just at running back with Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams as our two starting running backs going into the season this year. And then I think still got Deuce Vaughn there slotted in at the third running back. So obviously I think running
really
back
good,
also
feel good
falls
story
under
rolling with Deuce Vaughn, but it's time to cut.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, let's
Wasted
cut
a
our
draft
losses
pick
with
on
that.
him. Hey, this Vato looks like a New England Patriot, I'll tell you that.
For sure.
I'll give you that.
He looks like he's from Maine.
From Nantucket.
Yeah, from Nantucket. Yeah, in that suit for sure.
Yeah, Javonte Williams, was he come over from Denver, right? I mean, he hasn't had a really good season in quite some time.
No, not ever since Mason
That can't be our
Crosby or
featured
Max
back
Crosby
in-
ended his career.
Yeah, that can't be a
Well,
featured back. for us.
honestly, there hasn't been any talks of the Cowboys trading up. So although Mike does want them to trade up for Genty, I don't see it in the cards, and he's not going to be there for them.
Yeah.
But, here you got the Browns. The pick is in. What are you all thinking that they're going
Didn't
to
take
end up
long.
going with? You got the guy from Michigan, the defensive tackle, Graham. You have Walker. You have, they don't need a running back in Genty, but they do need a running back. It's just I don't see the Browns drafting a running back, they've been able to make do with whatever they have at running back. And
They
I just
have
don't
decent
think,
defense. The Browns do. Do they get the linebacker from Georgia, or do they help anchor the line for Myles Garrett and get the defensive tackle from Michigan?
Mason Graham,
Yep, defensive
Mason
tackle
Graham.
from Michigan.
Workhorse. I like the pick. Michigan had a nasty defense past 2 years.
This guy
He's a
got
big
a
part of
motor,
that.
bro. I don't
Yeah.
mind this pick for them at all.
Dude, his over
Pairing
under
him
was
up with Myles Garrett is like the right thing to do for them.
Yeah, it's a good move for them. I like that.
his over under was at 5.5, and the over was juiced rowdy.
This might be the first time you see the Browns get the right pick, man. They just might have done it.
Nah, they got the right pick when they chose Joe Thomas back in the day.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's a
Genty.
good pick.
Pass number 5 now. Raiders are on the clock. Roland, you were talking about them. Now, any chance the Raiders, they do got Geno Smith as their quarterback. Any chance they go and say, you know what, let's draft the quarterback of the future and put him behind Geno to learn? Any chance they do something crazy like that?
I think you got a coach in Pete Carroll who's there to kind of start winning and
Yeah, they're not trying to
they're going to
build a
go
project.
John. Yeah, exactly. I think they're going to draft the running back from Boise. That's going to be a good pick. That offense is going to be pretty fun next year with Bowers, him. Yeah, Jacoby Myers is a baller consistently. We'll see what Geno Smith ends up doing.
Bowers is a special talent, Roland. Like, I know you list him at tight end, but man, that dude can really just play. You put him on the outside as a receiver, and he can come down with the ball.
Man.
It's awesome to watch him play, bro.
How many times do you draft somebody and then they automatically come in and they're the best player at their position? That's crazy.
Hey, happy birthday, John Ross.
It's your birthday.
36 years old. What's up, man? Glad you're here with us tonight.
Happy birthday,
Happy
John.
birthday. Yeah, man. So, guys, as far as like the draft, what's your favorite part of the draft overall? Like, we talked about some of it earlier. Like, it's the hope of it all, right? You know, like everyone is starting with a clean slate. You get to see, you know, the highlights from the college days. You see the crazy graphics from ESPN. Although I haven't seen much of that, I think they've gotten too much hate over the years.
There's been some crazy ones, like mothers survived cancer while in jail. Like what? Like
nobody's mom has been addicted to crack.
Yeah.
14 years.
Yeah, no, I miss like now here's a guy. Here's a guy. Let me tell you something about this guy. I think that might be Collinsworth now that I'm thinking about it. But I like the Mel Kiper, breaking down the film. I know Mel Kiper's caught in a lot of slack over the years, but he does his homework. I like watching that. Just the overall feeling. I just still miss when it was on Saturdays.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning. Yeah, nothing like it.
I think the pick is in here already.
Yeah, I mean, Genty was linked to them like crazy. They gave Geno all that guaranteed money, so no shot they take a quarterback here this early, the Raiders.
Oh, there's Pete Carroll. Is Tom Brady in the room?
Part owner, Tom Brady. All right, so Jets would be next on the pick. If Genty does go here, who goes next?
Man, Jets, another weird team. They decided to go Justin Fields this year at quarterback. I thought they were in the quarterback market, maybe this potential the draft cycle, but who knows what they're gonna do.
No Brady in the war room. I guess he's a hands-off owner.
I think the Jets have a lot of. I mean, the Jets have a lot of needs. I mean, you need O-line. There's been O-linemen.
Yeah.
You need weapons. I mean, you look at their wide receiver room, and Alan Lazard is wide receiver 2.
I'm looking here. Saw this morning Kelvin Banks to the Jets. That's a popular name. They're saying Jets might move back. They're a team, but I mean, they may have moved back with the Bears for a guy like Genty, but
for sure they're not going running back. They got 2 running backs. Braylon Allen was a stud this season, and Breece Hall. Just a little bit of an offseason, but they're not going to replace him just yet.
Breece Hall had a weird tweet today. There was trade rumors. There was a reporter that came out and said that his name has been brought up in trades a lot.
Jets were linked to Tyler Warren, also tight end. That's the name that I kept on hearing come up with the Jets. Jonty, Genty. I've said his name like 5 different times or 5 different ways.
There he goes in
tonight.
his Crocs.
But he's drafted 6 overall to the Raiders.
Hey, let's talk Genty and fantasy football. I mean, let's get into it a little bit here, but I mean, this is a guy who kind of similar to Bijan, I think is going to have a lot of draft hype, rookie year. There is those rookies that go off. He's obviously going to be the starting running back. I don't think that, Mostert's going to beat him out.
Nah.
I think Mostert's going to be the change of pace guy, maybe, third down back. But do you think that Genty can, be going possibly in the second round of drafts, before players like Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, players like that?
Yeah, he's going to have the
so.
hype. He's going to have the hype of being a first-round pick.
I think that's where he'll be slotted in, for sure. I mean, you're drafting him 1-6 in real life. You're expecting day one production, and that's what you draft in fantasy. So, I'd like him in the second round, where you mentioned, Ben. Maybe even like beginning of the third, just depends. But you kind of got to like the makeup of the offense to think that it's going to be set up for him well going into it, right? Like, not all eyes are going to be on Genty because they got a good quarterback who can sling it a little bit.
I think all eyes are going to be on him, Roland.
I mean, we'll see. I think he might have a chance to
sling it, but I think Pete Carroll's always a run first type of guy.
And that's a good thing too.
It feels like he went to the right team for him. Like, this is a good situation for Genty.
I think he's the type of running back that kind of like
game's going to translate.
Guys like Ricky Williams and Josh Jacobs. They run him into the ground.
Also, I was going to say, speaking of that, like, he might be a guy like Zeke. He came into the NFL. Todd Gurley came into the NFL. 300 touches, 300 touches, 300 touches, 300 touches. First 3-4 years of their career. It's going to be the same thing with Genty. He's going to get 300 plus touches. So for sure going to be a high draft pick in fantasy.
Genty's got some killer Crocs going on, man. I mean, these things are crazy. They're like bedazzled with diamonds. And
hey, the comparison, Emmitt Smith.
I like it. He's got good vision.
That makes sense, I guess.
Good lateral quickness. He just does not have maybe the home run speed, but I mean, he gets himself there. Yeah.
Yo, Justin, what's up with you calling Cam Scoutable? What did you call him?
A gimmick.
I don't think he's like going to really be
a gimmick.
Yeah, in the NFL, like, I don't really think he's going to be that guy.
What is he, Toby Gerhart part 2?
Yeah,
you don't think he
feels like that. He feels like, like you get these college guys that are just gamers in college, but
he's a gamer.
Doesn't translate, bro.
Yeah,
that guy's not going to translate to the NFL.
He's not a supreme athlete. Maybe he'll be like a better version of Danny Woodhead. Maybe I know he's kind of good out of the backfield. He can catch the ball. Maybe be a little PPR back for you.
Yeah,
if he holds on somewhere.
He's going to be a good practice back, bro. Everyone's going to talk highly about him. He's going to be a locker room guy, that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jets, Jake here in the chat. Shout out, Jake. Going O-line. I mean, that's one of the positions they need.
I like Warren.
Might as well draft a guy like that. But yeah, Warren too. I mean, he's a dude.
But they got Rucker, bro, already. The Jets do. So do they need another tight end? 2 tight end set? I don't mind it. Jeremy Rucker?
That sounds like a country singer, bro.
It's the real deal.
I don't know about the real deal.
Oh, he's
Tyler
good.
Warren. Honestly, I saw him play a couple times. I didn't watch too much Penn State. The one time I watched their whole game against who'd they lose to?
Game?
Who'd they lose to in the playoffs?
Ohio State, right?
Ohio State? Yeah, it was Ohio State. I mean, he looked like an alpha on the field. Like, guys were bouncing off of him. Penn State. Who did Penn State lose to in the playoff? I'm already blanking out.
Notre Dame?
Nah.
They lost to Notre Dame or Ohio State, one of the two. But
they did lose to Notre Dame. Or no.
But he was the guy. He was the guy making all the plays. Sideline, toe taps.
Like, Notre Dame 27-24.
Because Jeremiah Love also had that monster play. The running back for Notre Dame. But yeah, no, Tyler Warren looked like an alpha out there. I mean, every time he touched the ball.
How close do you think Tyler Warren is to old boy from tight end from the Raiders?
Mayor
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
I mean, because those dudes are physical tight ends. 6'6", 256 for Tyler Warren. And I mean, he's athletic as all get out, bro. So what do you think? How good of a comparison is that? Are you getting an athlete like that? Or is Brock Bowers still just that one guy that's generational, and he's just not him.
I think Bowers is like his skill set as a receiver for a tight end is generational. I don't know if that's the case necessarily for Warren. I think Warren is just like a supreme athlete. Like, and he can play, you can line him up in the slot. He can play running back. You can hand him the ball. I think that he's going to be doing a lot of stuff. He's like a Swiss Army knife. Can do a lot of things. And to your point, he's a supreme build. Like he has a prerequisite 6'5", 6'6". Bowers is 6'3", so that's why I'm saying he's a little bit of a different build. But I do think in terms of like being a prospect, Bowers in like a tier of his own, but Warren is kind of just he's right there. Because I just like what he brings from an athleticism standpoint. I don't think there's a lot out there like him.
He's a dog also, bro.
Yeah, he's a dog too. The dog.
You go to Penn State, and I know their head coach gets a lot of shit, for never winning the big game. But Penn State is usually university. We already saw Abdul Carter get drafted. Like they put out NFL talent, and they're tough.
If you want to go to the NFL, go to Penn State. They're one of the schools that'll show you how to beat the combine. I was listening to a podcast couple months ago, and they're talking about how Penn State guys just always perform well at the combine, and they're just combine freaks. So I mean, just speaks to the athleticism of the guys that are over there. So
they got performance on the field. I mean, you look at the running back spot with the Eagles running back. I don't know why everyone's name is not on my tip of my tongue today. Super Bowl champion from the Giants that traded to the Eagles. You look at the Cowboys, Michael Parsons. You looked at who just got picked up today, Abdul Carter. They produce on the field. So,
yep. No, they do.
Speaking of Penn State guys is not a bad idea. Saquon Barkley. Why couldn't I remember Saquon Barkley's name? It's been that kind of day.
That kind of day. But, I mean, so we're waiting on the Jets pick. Here we got Mike saying Jets take Membu.
Jets' biggest needs, offensive tackle, defensive tackle, wide receiver, safety, and then tight end.
I'm sure if we look hard enough on Twitter, somebody's already released the pick early. I'm trying to stay away from that, but
just remind me never to just trust Wyndham Clark again, like with anything, just ever. There's a guy that I used to like, won a first round leader with him before a couple times, but
all right, here we go. Adam Schefter says. Minutes after drafting edge rusher Abdul Carter, Giants GM Joe Schoen said his team is picking up Kayvon Thibodeau's 5th-year contract option. Yeah, so we're pairing those two up. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick.
Yeah, they blew it. They lost by 2 strokes. Membo, nice.
Membo. All right.
We'll see.
So Banks still in. I know the Texans.
I like that.
The Texans made a little trade, traded some 5th-round picks, acquired.
Pencils out for y'all, so y'all need to replace somebody.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk about them trading up. I just don't like trading up for an offensive lineman. If we trade up, I want to trade up to take Golden. Like, I don't want to trade up for an offensive lineman. The other guy that's been rumored, I want a receiver this draft for the Texans.
You guys need a receiver badly. You need a receiver badly.
We picked up Christian Kirk in free agency, who I think is going to be good.
Yeah, he'll be good,
especially at beating man-to-man. You got Nico Collins, but Stephon Diggs leaves. Tank Dell, had that gruesome injury, so he's not going to be ready to go. And John Mechie, I mean, shout out to him beating cancer and all that, but man, he just hasn't shown it, on the field. So I am with drafting a wide receiver, especially Golden, man. I'm a Longhorns fan, so if we can keep him, in the city of Texas, that'd be awesome. But I am not with trading up for an offensive lineman.
All right, Panthers pick is in. They didn't waste no time. Here's what they need: edge, safety, cornerback, wide receiver, and defensive tackle.
They haven't had a pick in a minute after trading up for Bryce Young, so they knew what they wanted.
Marky Garza, he says, "Shut up about your Texans, bro. You might as well block for Stroud."
I might as well block.
There you go.
Take Golden and put me on left tackle.
Yeah, Texans offense line, receiver. I wouldn't be mad at receiver for Texans in the first round.
We saw the Panthers kind of figure it out towards the second half of the season. Bryce Love at least figures it out.
Yeah, Bryce Young. Yeah,
do they go get him? Bryce Young. Why did I say Bryce Love? Do they go get him help here? Get a receiver or something else to help him out a little bit here, or do they go get another cornerback, Jade Barron, on the board, and just get
I
that
think that's
defense
a
rolling?
reach with Barron. I don't think that Barron is top 10 material. I mean, I like him. He's a Longhorn, but I don't.
Will
think
Johnson's there too. I'm just saying, where do you think they go? Because they need defense.
They do need defense, but I think that they need, now that Bryce Young is playing with some confidence, I mean, I wouldn't mind getting him some help, whether it's on the O-line, whether it's, at tight end, whether it's at receiver.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't go running back here. The next running back we're probably going to see off the boards, Omari and Hampton. And it's, you're not going to get a running back soon. So I'd like some offensive help for Bryce Young.
Panthers, let me pull up their depth chart. I kind of initially agree. I wouldn't be mad at them drafting a guy like Tet here at the 8th spot. But I also wouldn't be mad at them drafting some defensive line. I saw they're linked with Jalen Walker, excuse me, out of Georgia. I was gonna say, I feel like if you go to Georgia as a blue chip high school prospect, you also have to go in expecting, if you're gonna be drafted in the first round, you got to shave 2 or 3 draft positions off of your potential, because you went to Georgia and they're just going to assume that there's an automatic character issue. Not saying that there is one with Jalen Walker, but just the speed demons that the Georgia Bulldogs are and their reputation, feel like sometimes that hurts some of their players coming into the draft. They just have that.
Kirby's going to have to just start bringing back buses and just bus everybody to the games, because
they did just draft Leggett though, right? So
yeah, Xavier Leggett, and he ended up being nice for them. Leggett's a nice piece. They had Adam Thielen, who put up another pretty decent year for them.
Isn't he gone? Or he's back?
Shoot, I don't know.
Well, wherever he is,
chart, but it might be
just draft him in the 10th round of fantasy football, and you can use him for a good 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, a good couple of weeks, and then he'll fall off a cliff.
He'll tear his hamstring.
Receiver. I still see Adam Thielen here. Leggett and Coker are their top
Thielen's
3.
still listed as our 1.
Yeah, they could use a receiver. Looking at their defensive depth chart,
they could also use a running back, Chuba Hubbard, Enrico Dowdle.
No running back.
Hey! Watch how you talk about Chuba Hubbard, bro.
They just paid Chuba.
Yeah, don't.
And they drafted the running back from Oregon who got hurt.
Oh, from Texas, you mean Jonathan Brooks?
Oh, Brooks. I'm sorry, from Texas.
Yeah, shout out my brother. He drafted Jonathan Brooks. Waited for him all year to get better. He never did.
Very patient.
No, but then did he tear up his thing again?
Yeah, he did. He got re-injured.
Yeah.
He came back for a game and got injured.
Yeah, he did. But not Chuba, man. He proved himself this year.
Facts. Chuba,
best Canadian running back ever.
Was a fantasy possibly champ. He helped
for sure. He was a lot of winning teams for sure. Guys who took chances on those guys, like Deontay Johnson. He turned out to be pretty good in the beginning of the year before he ended up in the depths of hell there. Yeah, just couldn't get out of the doghouse everywhere he went. JC Horn starting corner for them. Didn't he get hurt this past year?
He was a high draft pick.
Yeah, he's a stud.
That's why I was wondering, you go get 10. Will Johnson, anchor the other side of that corner line, or Jade.
Yeah, I like Jalen Walker here for them. I think that makes sense.
I'm gonna go defense with you, Roland. I'm gonna go like an edge rusher, a linebacker, some sort of defender, either Mikael Williams, or Walker.
Mel's best available. There we go. He's pushing Shador. I love it.
Wow, he is pushing Shador.
he was high on him. Remember, that's what's crazy.
Mel. And Loveland's gonna go to the Colts. Watch.
So we're pretty sure. I think Jackson Dart will go over Shador, right? That's kind of what we're thinking at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's crazy.
I don't think that.
You still think Shador gets picked up over Jackson Dart?
I think Shador gets picked up by the Steelers, and I think Jackson Dart goes in the second round.
Dart's a second-round guy. You don't have to force it with him if you're the Saints.
The Saints are not going to pick him, bro.
I don't even think he's good enough for the second round, to be honest. I'm not big on Dart.
I think he's second, third round. Honestly, I'm not in on Dart necessarily. I think I saw enough of him at the college level to know that he cracks a little bit. Yeah, he cracks a little bit. Don't necessarily want to, talk further than that, but he can make the big throws. He's a pretty good athlete. He's a lot better than the other quarterback that came out of Ole Miss a couple years ago, Corral. I will say that. He's a lot better than him. Oh, Tet. Wow.
Really?
Wow.
So they got him help. That makes sense to me.
I like it. Bryce Young, that's because Bryce Young showed out. At the
Yes,
end.
that is. That's putting
because
faith into
Young showed
Bryce.
out. Hey, shout out Bryce Young. You got a weapon, and Tet, come on, man. Be good for Bryce
6'4", man. He's got size on him.
This was a
Come on, dude.
surprise.
I like Tet McMillan. I hope he's good. I know the stink is on him right now with the work ethic.
He doesn't love football, Roland. Let's just be what it is. He don't love it.
Yeah, they said that he's a volleyball player first, football player second.
Damn, I'm out. I'm out. He doesn't even come on my draft board. I don't even think about drafting him. Nope. Can't say his name, and he thinks he's a volleyball player before an NFL. Like, at least Ant thought he was wanted to be a football player.
Which is cool. You want that, like, grittiness.
You know you're getting a dog. Nah, yeah. I'm out, Ted.
Steve Smith, he's been a critical wide receiver, analyzer or, analyst. He played a very high level,
and he's not bad. He's pretty accurate with his analysis.
Yeah, pretty good takes. He thinks that Tet's pretty much just like a jump ball guy. Doesn't like his route tree too much. He has Matt Golden, I think, as his number one guy. He has Burden up there above Tet too.
Luther Burden. Damn.
So there's guys that are not necessarily in on him, but you just can't argue with some of the stuff that you see on tape, like the way that he boxes guys out. Like for me, and again, that's because I'm a Tet guy naturally. Despite all of this, stink on him, I think the absolute best case scenario, and I think it's reachable if he works hard, gets there. Mike Evans. Right there. I think that's a Mike Evans type guy. He's got the size.
That's not his absolute best.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's his build. That's his
super
build. But that's what you're gonna. But he's gonna run the same stuff that Mike Evans runs.
Saints to pick.
And you also got to remember too. What's his name? The coordinator, the coach for the Panthers. He just got done coaching up Mike Evans a year or two ago. He was their offensive coordinator there with the Bucks and Baker. So this fits the mold. I think he's going to run a lot of the same routes that they asked Mike Evans to run in Tampa. And it's just whether or not this guy's got it. I think he does. But I'm not saying he's going to go be Mike Evans. I'm just saying that's what they're drafting him for.
Yeah, that's his ceiling.
You know that they have Leggett. I mean, so would you say he's wide receiver 1 coming into the season?
100%. Yeah. Okay. He's going to be wide receiver 1 or 2. I mean, you'd expect him to be wide receiver 1. I'd hope so. I hope we don't hear it in the...
With Thielen, they just move off him at this point now because they got this guy coming in?
Yeah, or ask him to play like the slot or something, or just be...
He'll kill it in the slot.
These guys, some vet moves.
Yeah, I hope...
Saints in here. They got a new coach, right? So what do? They need receiver, they need quarterback, they need edge, they need guard, and they need a quarterback, really. So,
edge. They're gonna get a rusher.
Saints. I hope they go edge.
This is where I have that Williams guy going here.
Who, Michael Williams?
Dude. So let me fill you all in on the lines for this Tet guy. It was 10.5 originally, and it was juiced to the over, and then it went up to 12.5. And still juiced to the over. And then you saw first wide receiver taken. You saw Golden getting a lot of steam. And Golden became the favorite to be first wide receiver taken. I thought the first wide receiver taken was going to be, with the Cowboys pick.
Yeah.
I didn't have a wide receiver going, to any of these other teams. So a little surprised here by this. I'm not the biggest fan of this guy. I know that Roland likes him. The first game of NCAA football that Roland and I played, he played with Arizona. Arizona was, predicted to have a really good season this year.
Yeah, there's a lot.
They underachieved. Rowdy.
Their quarterback was coming back. He was supposed to be good. Tet was there.
They had another receiver too. They underachieved big time. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that this guy maybe isn't, like Justin. I know you're maybe trolling a bit, but consider himself a volleyball player first and then a football player. But he doesn't seem like a guy that loves football.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, he says, I don't watch tape. The only tape I ever watch is when we're in the film rooms.
Usually that gets you bumped out of the first round just off that, bro.
My favorite receiver out of this draft that's coming up is Emeka Egbuka. I mean, you got 4 years of on-field production to show for. Probably the best route runner coming out of this draft. That's my number 1 coming out of this draft.
Link to the Texans.
Yeah, that's your number 1 receiver?
That's my number 1 receiver for sure. He produces like crazy. His route tree is amazing. I mean, and he gave you 4 years of production at Ohio State.
Do you think he's just getting lost in all of the great prospects that have come out and are currently at Ohio State in terms of just like he's not viewed? I don't think
And
they're
he was a
viewing him in the
5-star
same
kid
ilk.
himself. I mean, so yeah, he got lost. That just shows how good that depth tree that came out of Ohio State is.
For sure.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Like he's not known as like this like crazy athlete with like.
Yeah, he is. He's a burner, bro.
Oh,
Like,
he's
he's got all the tools.
I thought he was just like a great route runner.
Oh, that's the thing is he's a technician, but he can burn you too. Like this guy has everything. It's just that you got a freakazoid of Marvin Harrison. You had all the other boys that came out of Ohio State too. Like
said he ran a 4.45 at his pro day. So he's kind of like he's fast, but he's not top of the line.
Wow,
fast.
they went O-line. Not a quarterback.
Kelvin Banks, I like that. Texas boy.
Damn.
Shout out Texas.
I feel like that's the best left tackle in the draft, to be honest.
Back, bro. Bijan last year in the top.
Yeah, shout out Texas. Back-to-back years, first-round players. I like that.
This guy was my favorite tackle coming out of this draft, especially because he's the left tackle. I mean, he didn't give up sacks at all this season.
That's good, dude. He was a house.
Yeah, we'll miss him on the line, bro. He really produced for us, so Bears are in. They didn't move up after all. There was a lot of talk earlier in the day that they were going to move up to number 5. Here they are picking at 10.
This could also be where Warren goes. We know that Ben Johnson, left Detroit. They do have Cole Kmet, but we saw what he did with Sam Laporta. This year they even had that second tight end scoring touchdown.
Good call out, Ben.
So I think that Warren is a possibility here as well.
Tight ends in play here, or Loveland, depending on how they feel. Loveland's another top.
It's just Warren's better than Loveland, right?
Yeah, I think so. But Loveland, he had a lot of heat on his name coming into the year, and I think he's a pretty good receiver.
I want to say Warren is actually faster than Loveland too.
Yeah, I think the supreme athlete is Warren out of the bunch, but production, he's got the size. He's a good route runner. He's a new age tight end. He can come in and run a lot of stuff even out of the slot.
Loveland's pro comp rolling Matt Laporta.
I like that. I mean,
and Tyler Warren, his pro comp Greg Olsen.
Yeah, for sure.
Solid tight end names to be compared to.
Yeah.
I mean,
and even Tyler Warren, I might be like in
NFC North. You got to have your good tight ends. You know what I mean? You have to.
And Cole Kmet's just not that guy. No offense. They've been wanting him to be that guy for a couple of years now, and I may or not have punted on tight end a couple of years, and just like, you know what? Let me kick the tires on Cole Kmet. And you just got to, play the every other like 5 weeks and then hope for him to have one of those games.
He has those 2 games a year where he scores 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to hope that you slotted him in those games that he actually produces.
2 out of 16 games.
Yeah, that's just not going to cut it. And so they're another franchise. They just drafted Caleb Williams last year with the number 1 pick. And what do you guys rate?
And Rome.
What are we doing here? Laura Rutledge, what are we doing? What do you guys rate Caleb Williams' rookie year on a scale of 1 through 10?
4.
He showed flashes early on where you're like, okay, and then he kind of like did what he did at USC and just kind of regressed through the season. I would say B plus maybe for rookie season.
On a 1 through 10, I give him like a 5 or a 6 because he did show flashes and like he showed like, oh, they're doing the schedule release. He showed, excuse me, like despite all the dysfunction in Chicago, that he was still a bright spot. But I will say a former Chicago Bear first-round pick kind of also did that, but maybe not to the same level as Caleb Williams. I'm talking about Justin Fields. Yeah. So now you're getting him in a situation where there's going to be stability. You got Ben Johnson, who's the offensive whiz. Saw what he did with Jared Goff these past couple of years in that Lions offense. And so I think the pick here for Caleb Williams at an offensive position makes sense, at a skill position, excuse me. But he showed that he can be a guy. I just wish I would have seen a little bit more, especially like when the guy that got drafted under him, Jaden Daniels, ended up damn near making it to the Super Bowl his rookie year.
I'm not sure that he's not Kyler Murray though, bro.
Another version of Kyler? Is what you're saying?
I'm still not sure that he's not Kyler Murray. Like, he hasn't shown me anything yet. out of a scale of 1 to 10, I gave them a 4. I thought that they underachieved. I thought they had one of the better decent.
They had another
wide
win
receiver
total
rooms.
set at 8.5.
They had Roma Dunze, who they also drafted last year in the first round to pair with him.
They never
DJ
got
Moore
one.
looked like he was
Keenan
mad
Allen,
the whole time.
They had DJ Moore. They had Swift in the backfield. Like again, they did have a very bad coach. Now they get one of the better coaches. But I think that they go get more offense because this is Ben Johnson. This might be a generational tight end here with Warren. I really like Warren to the Bears.
Yeah.
There we go.
They already have Roma Dunze. They already have DJ Moore. They have Keenan Allen. Give them the tight end, and there's no fucking excuses, bro. If you go and score 30, 40 points a game with Ben Johnson, you're going to win, 9 to 10 games.
We got a few picks in already, so that shows you how fast they've been. That means teams are not picking other teams' picks where they got to scramble and look at their draft board. Here we are.
But yeah, I agree with you, Ben. This is a first pick of a new regime. Kind of want to put your stamp on it. I wouldn't be surprised with Mark's comment either. Hampton, they were linked to John T. Hampton is the guy under him.
North Carolina, the running back.
In terms of the prospects, yeah, North Carolina running back.
Nah, it's too high.
He was also slotted to the Cowboys at one point, but yeah, I think he's more in the 20s.
I saw him to the Broncos at 20.
Exactly, in the 20s. So
Steve McMichael passed away.
Let's see.
Linebacker for the Bears.
Roland's 3 seconds ahead of me.
Let's see who they pick. This Walter Payton Man of the Year stuff.
If they draft Warren, I think Caleb Williams can be a decent fantasy quarterback. I still don't know if he's going to be, that guy that can get you to where you need to eventually be. But I think that offense is going to be pretty explosive. Like I said, just off the strength of Ben Johnson, he's going to make it so much easier for Caleb Williams as well.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And that's why, to your point, it's like there's almost no excuse for Caleb Williams not to come out and, command the offense, look like he's in control, have some receivers are getting space. Because, they were getting space at some point last year. They're just missing Colston Loveland. They went tight end.
Wow. First tight end off the board.
I didn't think it would be Loveland over Warren. They got this wrong, I think.
Wow.
Hey, and Justin, you said his comp, not to say that he's going to go out and do that, but his comp, he's a Sam Laporta type who can block good. Not that Tyler Warren can't block because he can do it all too.
Wow.
He's a good blocker, a little bit more traditional, out of Michigan, blue chipper kind of guy. Kind of makes sense. And Sam Laporta, he coached Sam Laporta. Yeah.
This is a Ben Johnson pick, bro. They said, all right, you have, Tyler Warren went off the board this morning. I saw him at minus 700 to be the first tight end chosen.
Wow.
Loveland was plus 300 to be the first.
He likes the archetype, bro. That's what it is. He likes the archetype.
We're
getting real close, Roland. We picked 12 here. San Francisco's going to pick before us. Now that we're this close with what's available, what are you looking for?
Oh man, you gotta go with the offensive lineman, I think. Although with the way that this draft is going,
what if they
I wouldn't be surprised we take Golden. I wouldn't be surprised we take Golden.
I would love Golden, man. Get CD some help out there. There's so many holes on offensive linemen. I don't know if one just fixes everything. You got to get like 3 or 4.
Yeah, but we started that last year. We drafted the guy out of Tyler Guyton, right?
And he didn't really produce.
He's kind of he's kind of iffy. He had some good spurts. Was iffy most of the year. I'll give you that. But you got to build the offensive line over a couple of years. And I like Booker. I like what he can do. I think he's a plug and play guy, a good solid run blocker.
Alabama guard.
Alabama guard, exactly.
Dude, Loveland's over-under was at 17.5.
But, I wouldn't be mad at Warren, like Ben just said, although I don't know if I've seen Warren to Dallas, but I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at Golden. I just don't want, like, an off-the-board, like, random pick. Although the Cowboys have
the guy last year, what was his name?
We took Tyler Guyton, right?
I thought the DT out of Michigan.
Or DT out of Michigan. Who did we take? Oh, Taco Charlton.
No,
that was a while back.
No, that was a while back. It was a guy with like a 3-letter first name.
Oh, like yes.
He was supposed to be like a plug. You took him like with the 20-something pick. I don't know if it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, I think it was a guy no, hold on, let me see.
Michigan. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Michigan.
Yeah, it was Michigan.
Tyler Guyton in the first round last year.
So the year before then.
Mozzie Smith.
there you go.
That is just a
Yeah.
bust of a pick, bro.
Yeah.
He couldn't get any time. Like that guy, he was terrible, bro.
We're not
was a
good
what
at
the
drafting
fuck-
Michigan players.
That was
We're
a
not
what
good
the
at
fuck
drafting
pick,
Michigan
though.
players.
Like nobody
Shit, we're not
had
good at
that
drafting
guy.
SEC players sometimes. Also, like how many cornerbacks from the SEC did we miss on?
Yeah, but I think our draft team is better more times than not, right? Like I think we've hit on more picks and we've missed
On
these
offense.
in this
I
past
think on
era.
offense they're money.
On first round picks, or are we better at drafting like third or fourth
Nah,
picks?
first
I
round.
feel
I just
like
think
those
that
pan out
I'm
a lot
just
for
talking
us.
in general, but just specific to first round. I don't think we're terrible at first round draft picks. I mean, we've hit on. I mean, to Ben's point, we've hit on some pretty good offensive players in the first
Even
round.
when you reach like for Zeke in the top 10, like
Yeah, because
Zeke
it was
turned
either
out-
Zeke or Jalen Ramsey that draft. I think that was our debate.
That was the debate. But even Zeke, like, he, of course, a running back doesn't have that long a career, but I mean, Zeke became a legend in Dallas. They didn't win a title to say, but he had his seasons where he was a top running back.
Like
So-
random pick for me is like Leighton Vander Esch, pick
Yeah.
19.
All right.
He
So
just
Taco
retired.
Charlton 2017,
That's
not panning
random
out.
pick. Yeah.
Leighton Vander Esch panned out kind of when
Yeah,
he
he
was
did.
healthy.
He ended up being good when he was healthy.
CeeDee
Yeah.
Lamb panned out. Michael Parsons panned out. Tyler Smith to be determined.
To be
Mozzie Smith,
determined.
Tyler Guyton. I mean, just these last 2 years have just been bad though.
Let's get Golden to the Cowboys, bro. Let's keep him in Texas.
But I mean, look at some of the ones that hit for us: Des Bryant, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Byron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott. Like we're doing okay.
We're good.
And Roland in another chat was alluding to the Cowboys kind of just going and doing that reset with the offensive linemen again, where they went through that phase where they drafted, Zach Martin. So many years they were doing the not sexy pick that the fans didn't really like, but they built up one of the best O-lines in the NFL doing that. So this might be the reset where they go back to it. You said you have one of the best to ever do it, retire. You've been losing guys here and there. It might be time to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What was Zach Martin, that stat? He had more all pros than he did holding calls or something like that. That I mean, and
It's
again,
hard
it's
to
hard
get
to
another
replace
Zach
that.
Martin like
Yeah,
that,
you're not going to
though.
go get another Zach Martin, but we got to get something, I think.
Pick is in.
Pick is in. I'm sure the Cowboys will be picking right away after. I don't think
Well,
we're
the
going to make no
Niners
funny
the
business and
Cowboys
trade.
are right after this, huh?
Yeah. Boys, how long do y'all want to stay up till the 15th pick or so, or?
We can stay on a little bit after
It's
the
moving,
Cowboys
bro.
pick.
Yeah,
It's moving. I just
I'm
want
about
to set a time.
Eat some dinner here in a little bit.
Don't cut me off here.
I'm having a good time, huh? Don't stop me.
Don't stop me now.
I need to get to at least. I had Omarion Hampton under.
All right, real quick, I'm going to give you some
Okay.
NBA scores coming in. New York Knicks 93, Detroit Pistons 85. 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Got a game over there on the East Coast, boys.
Shador on the screen, or is that Shiloh?
That is Shador.
Okay.
Look at the chain he has, man. That's insanity.
And stand.
That's the biggest chain I've ever seen a man wear. That's crazy.
Team selecting 11 through 20 and their quarterbacks. Nobody needs a quarterback, boys. Nobody.
Yeah, nope.
Although Ron went to go eat dinner with his mom, man, he missed out on this draft coverage, brother.
It's going to be pick 21 to the Steelers, bro. It has to be pick 21 to the Steelers.
You feel like Mike Tomlin's a guy that kind of would take a chance.
He already went
on a guy
out
like
and
that.
said it. He already went out publicly and said, like, I like his work ethic. You can't deny what you see on film. Mike Tomlin is that type of guy. I mean, he went and hired Brian Flores. After
What
that
film is he
bullshit.
talking about? Because I don't see something that's like.
I mean, the game
shoots
against
off the
TCU.
screen.
I mean, he had the Hail Mary.
That TCU game was that they turned out to be a bad team that season. TCU.
They did turn out to be a bad team that season, but he still won the game on like a crazy scramble where he extended the play and got the game-winning touchdown.
He was like 2 games over 500 at Colorado, bro. It's like
sure, but we also know that they didn't have the best roster. Like they
True.
didn't have top recruiting classes.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But they're playing in a weaker conference too.
I think that if he ends up with the Steelers, that's like the ultimate. Like I think that's best case scenario for him.
You think it pans out for him if he ends up there?
Because the Steelers, when you play quarterback for the Steelers, they don't even ask you to do too much. They usually
you're
run
right.
the ball first, ask you to go off a play action. some bootlegs, move the pocket. They have a really good defense. You don't have to score 30 points necessarily to win games. So, yeah, I think the Steelers is the best case scenario.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ben. I like that. And I'm not out on Shador. I think Shador, he has potential. I mean, I don't think his ceiling is too high, honestly. Like, I don't foresee him being like all pro caliber. And I think that's, partially why he's going to slide. Like, his skill set doesn't necessarily jump off the board anywhere. Like, he doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the most supreme athlete. Everyone has been saying he's Deion Sanders' kid. He's got to be fast.
But the thing is, like, we've seen guys like Eli Manning win Super Bowls. You know what I mean?
What I'm getting to, though, is that what we have seen from Shador Sanders is he's a guy that knows how to run an offense. He's a guy, when I watch him, he looks like he's in control. And that's because he played throughout with a lot of chaos. He never really had a good offensive lineman. They had 2 makeshift offensive linemen when he was there at Colorado. The second year, the performance was a lot better. Ended up making a bowl game. Didn't have the best performance in the bowl game. Yeah, here we go for the Cowboys. But I like what Shador did at the college level. And so say what you want about the whole like interview process and whatnot. But to Ben's point, if he gets in the right situation, the right structure, a guy like I'm blanking out. Tomlin coaching him up. Arthur Smith, offensive guru. I think they're going to be in a good spot.
Like if he goes there, it's not Arthur Smith, offensive guru. Good one. But if he goes there, like the
shout out Rick.
Shout out Rick. The team and Gabe also. T Booker.
Shout out Gabe. Shout out Gabe.
The team.
I want Golden here, boys. I need Golden right here.
The team is not going to be on his shoulders for Shador if he ends up in Pittsburgh, bro. And there's no doubt that he's a gamer. He's a coach's son. He's been his whole life has been to be probably a pro quarterback.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, maybe he'll fail just based off of his size, and lack of speed. But at the same time, I don't think that the Steelers are going to make it that hard for him, bro. It's nothing complex over there, man.
Yeah, I think he can etch out a career for himself like a Geno Smith.
The Niners are going to have to pay Purdy here. They go defense to the first pick. Do y'all like that pick? We did see Debo leaving.
Yeah.
We see what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. Do you like this pick for the Niners?
Hell yeah. I had Mikael Williams under 15.5.
Okay, you love it for betting, but do you love it for the Niners? Do you like it like that?
For them, we've always known them to have a good D-line. Here they get a Georgia guy, on their D-line. Georgia defensive linemen, they've been known to have the best defense in college football probably the last 3-4 years.
Best coach, ready to go defense for sure.
So that you're getting a dog, immediately. We see what Jalen Carter's doing with the Eagles.
Yep.
So the other guy, Walker, didn't the Jaguars draft the guy from Georgia pretty high a couple of years ago as well?
Trayvon the first pick.
Yeah, so they put out, edge rushers. So for somebody like the Niners, here it is. The pick is in, boys.
Yeah, I like the pick for the 49ers.
Get it, Golden. Come on,
Golden. You're a little ahead of me, so don't give me that spoiler.
Yeah, Golden, come on.
I got it.
Let us see it. Golden.
Not.
What?
Fuck,
he spoiled it.
There we go.
Tyler Booker.
There
it is.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I don't love it. I don't love it, to be honest. I'm not big on Tyler, but
I like him.
He's got size, at least that, right? 6'5", 320, but
good character stuff from what I was reading on him. Good locker room guy. Good run blocker. We need to improve our running game. Look at him. He's excited. Looks like he's got a motor. Hey, just bring that to the field. Bring that inside inside those white lines. I'm excited. Look, he's running to Goodell. I like that.
It's the safest pick, honestly, and I don't mind that sometimes because that formula has worked for us in the past. We got all those O-line, so I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind this pick at all. I like it for the Cowboys. Not the sexy pick, but this
exactly.
Is what we
it's not the
right
Ferrari.
Now. This is what
this is the Mack truck.
Yep. Shout out Mike rebuilding that offensive line. We've been talking about it all night. Got to replace Zach Martin somehow. Not necessarily going to step into those shoes and fill them. But look, man, this guy's excited. I'm excited now. He just gave Roger Goodell a big bear hug.
I like the energy at least on draft day.
I already like the guy. Just
hopefully Guidon pans out and the rest of the guys follow through, man.
Yeah. All right. Feel good about the Cowboys pick. We'll see what they do the rest of the way here, rest of the off season.
So just looking at the line, Tyler Garden left tackle, Tyler Smith at left guard, Cooper Beebe at center, and now more than likely a Booker coming in at right guard.
Yeah,
With right tackle being Terrence Steele.
I like that. I think we're on the right path there, the right trajectory with that offensive line. Still, like to your point earlier, talking about some of the other guys, still some question marks, still some guys that got to like solidify their spot there. But this is a good solid pick for the Cowboys.
Look, Ray says he's out. Ray, did you not like this pick? Were you hoping for Golden and the Ferrari, or what was going on? Rick Torres says he loves this for the Cowboys, notorious Cowboy hater, so you know.
Yeah, I think like my thing with the whole Golden thing is I don't think he's good enough for the Cowboys to pass up a supreme need in the trenches.
Yeah.
Would you agree that offensive line is more important than receiver?
Of course.
Right. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think that Golden is like that good to cover that gap, right? In terms of the importance when you're trying to build your team and fill gaps where you may be weak. I definitely think you got to look to O-line before you look to receiver.
Yeah, you know, and
shout out Gabe, we got the Roll Tide guy. There we go.
As much as I like Golden, like I said, Abuka's the real star of the draft for me at receiver. So
yeah.
I'm not mad that we didn't, get Golden here. It's just I want to be able to score points, and I feel like with what we got right now, no help for CD is going to be tough.
Man, let's.
We're still going to need running back here too. So
I had it up right now.
Sanders would have been better than Prescott. Come on, Rick.
Is it safe to say the Cowboys are rebuilding them, boys, or what?
Yeah,
no, man, we're all in. We're always all in. The Cowboys are never.
We're always all in.
Yeah, it depends on who you're asking. You ask the owner. We're all in.
The Cowboys, we only end up in the spot if something goes terribly wrong, which it goes wrong a little bit more often than you would like. So I don't know if we're always all in necessarily, but this iteration of the Cowboys, I would say, is still under the illusion that they're competing for something grander than just rebuilding. So we'll see.
The way it looks right now, the NFC is just locked up. NFC East.
Yeah, NFC East.
With the way that the Eagles have, really stacked their pockets this year.
Will the Eagles be the first team in the NFC East to repeat in 20 years? And the last team to do it was Donovan McNabb and the Eagles.
Yeah, it looks like that at least. I mean, they didn't really lose much. Some defensive backs here and there, but they're looking like
I just deal. To your point, Justin, I will give you, Jonathan Mingo and Jalen Tolbert don't necessarily jump off the screen when you're watching them play in terms of being the help for CeeDee Lamb, right? So definitely going to address receiver. Would you put receiver as a need above running back?
That's the other thing. You need running back too. Depending on what name is there next round, like if Travion's there and it's Travion or Golden, I'd probably go Travion.
Okay. So you think so you like the prospect a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben?
If it's like Travion, Luther Burden, give me Travion still.
Okay, Ben, what's your take on that? Put yourself in the Cowboys war room. Jerry Jones looks to you. You're drinking your happy dad. He's like, Ben, I know you're wearing some Texans gear right now. I know you used to root for us way back when.
Should come to me for advice. Then.
Yeah, when's the last time you were a Cowboy fan though?
Like, I was a big T.O. fan. Best receiver ever to play.
2007.
That was like high school, 2008, my senior year. Yeah. T.O. got traded to the Cowboys.
There we go. Okay, so you got to go back to those days. And Jerry asked you, Ben, what do we do this second round pick?
Second round. I don't think that Travion Henderson might be there. Golden's definitely not going to be there. But there's another receiver that I like. There's two. You have the option of Luther Burden, and there's a wide receiver out of Iowa State that I like a lot.
Oh, yes, I've seen it. His name's not coming to me, but I have seen that guy come up a couple times.
I'm in the Cowboys Discord, and they're saying we're cooked with this pick.
They're just reacting. There's going to be people that wanted the receiver, and rightfully so. I mean, like we just looked at their depth chart, right? Jonathan Mingo, a guy that we traded a second round pick for, right? We traded a second round pick for him, or am I just making that up? I feel like
I think that's correct.
gave up high draft capital for him. You're asking him to be the primary help for CeeDee Lamb, other than Jake Ferguson, who's arguably our second best receiver. Shout out Jake Ferguson, just got engaged.
Good time.
So yeah, I mean, Cowboys do need help, but again, to me, I think you got to go O-line before you go receiver, unless the receiver is a can't miss guy that is going to be plug and play day one and producing almost day one if you're drafting them this high. Which I mean, we'll see with Golden. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Let's get a little bit of a reset here. Let's talk about what's best available. We still got Jalen Walker, Tyler Warren, Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, Derek Harmon, James Pierce Jr. That's a name that really picked up steam towards the combine. The Tennessee edge. That's still available. You got Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. He used to be with Texas A&M. Didn't have the production at Texas A&M, but did show up a little bit with Ole Miss. So there's still quite a bit of good players left on the board here.
Justin, didn't the Tennessee player have a case, and that's why he was dropping, or am I getting him mixed up with
I'm no cop. I'm no cop, Ben. I ain't 5'0". So
yeah, you're a narc, bro.
So that's on you to if you know he has a case or not.
Dolphins pick is in, I think.
They need a
guard.
They're a weird franchise right now.
Concussion prevention. You need O-line.
They're in a weird spot as a franchise.
They got a very offensive forward coach. Do they go offense here?
Would you say Mike McDaniel is maybe on the hot seat a little bit? Like he might be coming to the end of his run there in Miami if things don't shake out for him?
It's weird to say because that franchise is kind of like as long as they're scoring and looking flashy, they might let it go a little bit.
Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan, is the pick.
6'4", 331, K. Grant.
Another guy out of Michigan. Michigan's cleaning up in this draft.
These are the guys that Harbaugh left at Michigan.
Yeah. Yep. Indianapolis. Another
This is Warren. 100%.
Yeah, this screams Warren, right?
They need a tight end. They need a tight end who can do both block and,
shout out Dallas Clark.
Run routes. Yeah, they need Dallas Clark on stilts.
They got Josh Downs, Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce. They just drafted A.D. Mitchell last year. Man, A.D. Mitchell could have had a pretty decent year this year, and he had some pretty big drops too. I mean, he had some.
He wasn't
some
getting
opportunities.
the best passes from.
But I mean, I'm talking about like he had some like go straight through his hands where he had 2 steps on guys and would have scored touchdowns and
Ben did mention concussion protocol. They need to protect Tua here. They don't address that with the first round. Is this a misstep in getting defensive line instead of addressing that issue that they have in the O-line?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. I think Miami, they're a team. Whenever you think about them, you think that they're soft a little bit. So, shoring up the trenches for them. I don't think it's necessarily a bad move. I'm pulling up their depth chart.
Yeah, even with Tua being hurt, they could still put up points.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the situation with Tyreek Hill? Does he want out again? Are they going to be able to? They're going to have to move off of that.
That's what I'm saying. They're in a weird spot. I mean, I think they'll keep Tyreek another year. They just got to get Tua to be healthy, although that's easier said than done. Although they got Zach Wilson as their backup quarterback. So not all lost now that Tua, when he gets hurt, you don't have to throw in Skylar Thompson. I mean, come on, what are we doing? I guess Zach Wilson's a little bit better. Still got Devon Achane. But when you look at their defense, I mean, I couldn't tell you who Benito Jones is or
I like his name.
or their
got a Mexican mom and a black dad. Benito Jones.
Neil Farrell. So yeah, they need some help in the trenches.
Farrell's not bad though.
They need some nastiness. Like Roland said, everybody thinks that they're soft. I think that their offense is gimmicky. Tua's he's limited in that offense, both in, seeing everything is all about timing. And if you can disrupt routes, we've seen the Dolphins have a really hard time. So as far as McDaniels, is he on the hot seat? Unfortunately, he's tied to Tua. So for that reason, he might be on the hot seat. I don't think that it's the last time that we see him as a head coach. Let's say if the Dolphins get rid of him, because I do think that he is pretty, like ahead of the game, advanced. He's like one of those free thinkers. He's open to new ideas. He's constantly changing.
Yep.
He's kind of that new version of head coach that's in the league.
There it is.
Tyler Warren
Tyler
off the
Warren.
board.
I mean, what a fucking gift for these guys.
This is exactly what they needed the most. They needed
Great
tight end.
pick.
They get tight end.
Look at his family. They look like Colts fans. All those people.
Great pick. I like Tyler Warren to the Colts. Let's see if their quarterback can get him the ball. Still, Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, 2 quarterbacks for the
end
for the
around.
Colts.
End around.
Yeah, it was that
All
game
right.
against Boise too. He looked like an absolute stud.
Yeah, he was a freak of nature in the playoffs.
Dude,
Yeah.
what a gift for the Colts, bro.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
like
that was
Tyler
their
Warren a
number
lot.
one need, tight end, and it falls to them. I mean,
Wow. Well,
Great
wow,
pick.
quarterback in high school. You like that. You do.
Great pick for them.
I am gonna notate this one though.
Right, they lined him up at defense, quarterback right there against Ohio State.
Dan Johnson took Loveland over Warren. We gotta notate that one, boys.
Yeah,
All right. On the
There you
clock
go,
would be the
swinging it.
Falcons. They're going to need edge, defensive tackle,
Yeah.
center, safety, and receiver.
or maybe
here,
they
Roland.
draft quarterback again. Who knows? They're the team that provided us with the WTF moment last year when they drafted
With
Michael
Penix.
Penix at the 9th spot. Although in retrospect, that might
It
end
looks
up working
smart.
out good
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
In hindsight, 2020 with the way Kirk Cousins turned out for them. So to your point, Justin, I think they do fill one of those needs. They keep it kind of ho hum this year. They got some good talent on the offense now. Now it's about filling some gaps.
All right, so some gap guys would be like a Jalen Walker. They
Dude,
need a
Walker's
safety.
still out there. Walker
Edge
was
is there with
supposed to
James Pierce. They would need a safety. I don't think there's any safeties on the board that scream first rounders right now.
Safety, I heard 1 or 2 guys
It
come
was
up.
supposed to be 2
The
safeties.
South Carolina guy
South Carolina guy, yeah,
and Malachi Starks from Georgia. Other than
Yeah.
that, and those 2 guys are not great safeties.
yeah.
And that's one of their biggest needs here. They do also need one more wide receiver. Could we see them go wide receiver?
No.
We don't have any wide receivers off the board this year yet, right?
Yes, we do.
Ted,
Ted. That's it. The one. In previous drafts, we saw receivers just fly.
Yeah, but I mean, this was
This is a
also
complete different draft than what we've been used to in the
Mhm.
last 2-3 years.
Let them sit there for the Texans, Justin, and pick.
Oh,
25.
my bad. You're right.
Another team that I see coming up needing receivers could also be the Broncos. They usually make do with the Tim Patricks of the world and Hamilton, that other
True.
Penn State receiver that
Cortland Sutton.
And they got a new coach, and they're trying to get Bo Nix a guy. That could work out. I do want to address Rick's comment here. With so much focus on the first round talent that was put in, which under the radar prospects or day 2-3 picks do you guys think could end up being the biggest steals of this draft?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I like Luther Burden if he does just
If
gonna
he
be
falls?
easy because he might be in the second round. I think he's the guy if he falls. You talk about a receiver that can kind of do it all in terms of the route tree and still, be a good athlete at the same time. I like Luther Burden personally. I'm going to look up some more guys here if more come to mind.
man, I can't believe the
Roland, the other one that is going to fall, I don't see him getting drafted the first 2 days, but the production was off the charts. Landon Jackson, the Arkansas's edge.
Yeah,
He was a 5-star guy coming out of high school. He's not projected to be in the first 2 rounds probably, so you might see him day 2, day 3, but the kid can produce. Absolutely. His little brother is coming to the Texas Longhorns, so keep an eye out for his little brother as well.
What do you guys think about what's this guy's name? Hold on, you keep on talking. It'll come to me right now. I'm sorry.
Well, Justin, I'll give you a flyer, and this one might surprise you, but you are an Ohio State guy. Give me Will Howard, bro. I think that Will Howard is actually going to carve out an NFL career for himself.
There's a chance because how physical he is, Ben. But we did see him at Kansas State when he didn't have all the studs around him.
But I
Just
see him a
little
lot
bit
like Bo
average.
Nix, bro. I see him a lot like Bo Nix style quarterback.
What do you
Let's
think?
talk about one of our guys, Ben. Let's talk about Gunnar Helm. We did see him produce a lot at the tight end position for the Longhorns. Can that translate to the NFL at all? I'm going to read you his pro comp. And in a little bit here, while I look it up, 6'5", 241 for him. He did break his leg at one point. What do you think about him?
I mean, every time you see him, you think like this guy's an NFL player just based off of size alone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then he didn't drop too many passes whenever, Quinn Ewers would throw ducks his way.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of him. I think that tight end is also, one of the positions where you can get guys, in the second, third round possibly.
Yes, sir.
And they end up panning out. So he has the NFL talent. I mean, at least he's going to be a hell of a blocker in the NFL.
Yeah.
But he is an athletic enough to catch passes. So
Let me read you his stats here. 60 receptions, 786 yards, 7 tutties. He averaged 13.1 a catch. So he is a first down machine for you at 13.1. He can really extend drives.
Let's keep it in the tight end position. I got 2 names. One, ultra production, and he's got some draft buzz behind him. You just read off some stats, Justin. How's 117 and 1,500 yards for you? That's Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. Yeah, Bowling Green, 6'3.5",
Kentucky kid,
4.7 40. He's gonna be a second round guy probably. He's another tight end in this class that a lot of people are kind of excited about, if you will. Had some pretty good production when he played up in competition. I think they played Penn State this year. He did pretty good. Came out with some stats.
What's that Browns tight end that came out from Miami?
Njoku.
He reminds me so much of Njoku. They got a similar build as well.
And same kind of athlete, right?
Yeah.
Harold Fan is another guy. I like him. But another dude that I'm going to bring up, it's a very polarizing player, I think, in this draft. It's none other than Jalen Milroe. What do you guys think about Jalen Milroe? He's going to get drafted second or third round, you would think, just off of his, pure athleticism, I would say. I mean, he looked like a monster in his pro day, but I mean, that's what the pro day is for. Yeah. Justin, what are your thoughts? I know what Ben kind of thinks of Jalen Milroe. What's your thoughts on Jalen before we get to Ben?
He's made a lot of mistakes this season where I felt like the season before I felt like, oh, this is an ace. He might have something, but this season he didn't get better. He regressed so much in that offense. At one point of the season, he got benched. He figured it out towards the playoffs a little bit more towards the end of the season. But that Oklahoma game was a complete dud. I don't trust Jalen Milroe at all. I'm not high on him at all. I think he's gonna go day 2, day 3, maybe, or something.
Are you Ben? Are you in agreement with Jalen Milroe, a guy you can't necessarily trust, a guy that maybe? What do you think? Is he going to play quarterback necessarily?
Well, there you go. Hey, and he should be thanking Taysom Hill. Is who he should thank. He should thank Taysom Hill for Taysom Hill carving out that I'm athletic, big guy, can run, but I'm not good enough to be a quarterback. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be a gadget type player, similar to Taysom Hill.
When you see Jalen Milroe, you look at the guy and you're like, that guy belongs in the NFL. Sure. But you're just like, not necessarily a quarterback, but he belongs in the NFL. And a gadget guy would probably be the best thing. Wildcat situations and stuff like that. Like he probably has a more proven track record than Anthony Richardson. And we saw how Anthony Richardson went. Obviously, a bad pick by the Colts. And we can already say that after 1 year. I mean, I don't know, Roland. You might still hold hope.
Dude, just because I drafted him, that does not mean I'm an Anthony Richardson guy.
But
Roland, what's your opinion on Jalen? I mean, where you at on Jalen Milroe?
Look, I was playing devil's advocate this whole time on Jalen Milroe, just saying I thought he was going to be a first-round draft pick just because of his profile, right? Supreme athlete. We've seen teams take chances on these guys before. And yeah, he's supreme athlete. Like, we're talking like one of the fastest quarterbacks to come out and run it. Jalen Walker, there you go. Georgia stays in Georgia with Atlanta. I like that pick. Okay. Edge rusher for them. Milroe, but man, I'm kind of on the side of you, Justin, where I wanted to see a little bit more from him this year. He had that huge Georgia game, but I feel like that Georgia game, everything just went in Alabama's way so early, and he looked good in those spots. Everything was scripted in that first part of the game, and but he didn't look good in the Senior Bowl, and you would have liked to see him look better there. Did not have a good showing. So as much as I like Jalen Milroe, I'm kind of out on him as a quarterback at the next level. I think he will be kind of a gadget guy. I think that's best case scenario, and
Yeah.
somebody should try and etch out a spot for him in their offense. I think it'd be wise because not many guys you snap the ball to, and you got him running a 4-3.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. If
Well,
he's there 5th round, 6th round, and the Cowboys are picking, I want him on the team. I really do. Because there's downs where you can bring him in with that Wildcat situation where you've seen Dak he don't got the legs anymore at all to extend plays. And he's good enough of an athlete to get you those first down yardages with his legs. And we don't have the running backs right now either. So I would take a gadget guy for situations like that. Now, do we have the coaching to use him correctly? That remains to be seen.
And my point as a gadget player was like, he could land in a situation where maybe a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, although I think they want the ball in Mahomes' hands, for the most part, but like a team that's already set, like not a team that is valuing draft picks and really has a lot of holes to fill. It's got to be like the Lions, where maybe they use a gadget player like that, or the Rams.
That's a good point.
A team like that because it's a project, bro. I mean, it's a project quarterback.
You could bring him in and use him like they use Jalen Hurts on those 3rd down and 1s where you're tush pushing with him. I mean, the kid is physical. He belongs in the NFL. That's for certain.
I guess that we just go back to 2020 a little bit. Would you say Jalen Hurts was a more surefire prospect at that time than Jalen Milroe, or are they both kind of in the same boat?
Undoubtedly, his arm was better at that time. I mean, you saw what he did with Oklahoma as well as he did in Alabama, bailing them out in that national championship when they needed him in. So, yeah, no, definitely.
And I think like ultimate, like best case scenario, like if he were to ever get beyond like a gadget type guy, would be finding himself in a situation like Philadelphia where they run an offense that's catered to Jalen Hurts. Because as much as I do agree with you, I think Jalen Hurts is a little bit better of a prospect, although the athleticism is in favor of Milroe over here. But all in all, I don't think Jalen Hurts is successful in many other spots outside of where he's at right now.
I agree.
So, I mean, it's all situation. And so Jalen Milroe finds himself in the right situation, maybe, but I think that's pretty far-fetched. I'm more in line with what you and Ben are saying, like gadget player.
I just feel like that's a guy you want in your locker room, though. Like that's a positive, a guy to get in there. Like he's going to help you no matter what he's doing.
But at what cost is the thing? Like
that's what I'm saying. You don't go reach for him. Like
the Eagles.
I think 4th, 5th, it's safe to start taking a shot at him.
You say use him like Jalen Hurts, in a possible scenario for sure. But Jalen Hurts was a 2nd-round pick or 1st round, early 2nd-round pick, right? And they were pissed off. Now a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but yeah, bro, I don't know. I'm not on the Jalen Milroe train at all. Yeah. I think Will Howard is a better pick than a Jalen Milroe.
Shoot,
but I mean, beyond Cam Ward, this quarterback draft is just rough. It's just rough. Quinn Ewers on the board.
You still only have one best available, right? No, maybe some trades in the 20s.
Yeah, just one quarterback off the board.
See what the Cardinals do here. I think they got some things working in their favor. I know Kyler Murray is still their quarterback, and I'm in on Kyler Murray some weeks. Other weeks I'm out. It depends if when the Call of Duty comes out, right? But let's see what the Cardinals need before the draft comes in.
Yeah, bro. I think they need DBs. I think that we might see a defensive back over here.
Yeah, so they need cornerback, they need edge, they need wide receiver, they need offensive guard, and they need defensive tackle.
So they need
Will Johnson is available here. So is Jahdae Barron. And defensive tackle Derek Harmon from Oregon is available here as well.
And they wouldn't go wide receiver again, right? Because, I mean, they just took Harrison. They have McBride, who they just paid a bunch of money to. But we know that Murray loves throwing to what's that little name? He's like the
Greg Dort.
Dort, bro. So fucking annoying.
Greg Dortch.
Greg Dortch. Yeah. There you go, yeah. Shout out Lou Dort.
Pick is in.
Thunder just kicked off not too long ago.
Real quick, basketball, 116-113 NBA, New York Knicks up, 5.8 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Oklahoma City and Memphis has started. Memphis up 6-4 with 8:39 left in the 1st quarter. Low-scoring game has started.
Hey man, that Knicks and Pistons series. I mean, the Pistons were able to steal one in New York. This is their first game back in Detroit. I saw a fan crying because I think it's like since 2007 or some wild
Nice.
shit like that.
I like
bro.
this pick.
Who did they
Our
take?
pick is in.
Walter Nolan.
Walter Nolan Jr., the defensive tackle from Ole Miss.
GT.
Yeah.
This kid was a transfer out of A&M. He was part of that 5-star, that A&M hall that had like, I don't know, it was like
Míralo,
6-7
Louis.
of them. So
Are the Ravens about to pick, or what? Why is Louis showing up in the chat now?
And we got the Bengals on the clock. Their team, they just got their house in order this offseason. You know, they paid both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
this is not the first time
last
that the
offseason.
Cardinals have taken a defensive tackle from Ole Miss. They did take Robert Nkemdish a few years ago, who they fell in love with in a similar situation where he didn't produce, but he was coming in as a 5-star and he had all the hype around him.
I mean,
So I think that's a similar situation here.
He fell out of a 2-story apartment. You can't expect a guy to produce after that. I mean,
Look at how happy they are for this.
kind of
Him
hard.
and his
after
brother were great in
that,
college,
man.
but they just did not produce in the NFL.
Yeah, I remember the hype with that guy. Yeah, I'm interested to see what the Bengals do here. I mean, the Bengals, they're the team. High hopes, missed the playoffs. They went on a crazy run, just a little too late. Shout out T. Higgins, though.
Yeah.
Although
Shout out T. Higgins.
You know, he's in and out of the lineup a lot.
And Chase
still.
Brown.
Yeah, and Chase Brown. Yeah, shout out
sir.
Chase Brown. Great pick for them. Rookie running back ended up coming up producing. Their team, I saw people sneakily slotting them to drafting a running back. But their team, I think they need some other help.
Bengals will need cornerback, edge, wide receiver, tight end, and an
There you
offensive guard.
They need O-line or they need defense. I think you already have enough money invested.
You got to
into
think
the
O-line,
offense.
right? I mean, they got to protect Burrow.
Yeah, I'd say O-line or defense for me.
The skill positions, like with all that money invested in Chase and Higgins and then Burrow, you know, you have Chase Brown on his rookie deal, so there's no point in drafting another running back. The tight end is whatever, so it's either somebody to keep Joe Burrow upright, you know, and standing and not tearing his ACL again because he's running, you know, from sacks, or you beef up the defense. They had that. I don't know if they have locked down their defensive end. He was the sack leader in the NFL, Hendricks.
Yeah, no, they're still, I think, back and forth. That's a real toxic situation between.
They paid a lot of money already. You know what I mean? So how much are they going to pay the NFL sack leader?
Yeah, there's uncertainty around Trey Hendricks' future still.
Might be a situation.
You kind of don't like the way the front office of the Bengals handles these guys in their contract situations, where it seems like it's hostile every time.
It seems like they just wait too long. Like, you should just get shit done a lot sooner. The T. Higgins deal, I know that he's been hurt a lot of years, but you either cut ties with him. They franchised him last year. Now they go and sign him after like a fucking career year. You know what I mean? And then Chase, who you were going to have to pay no matter what, right? And I think they paid him maybe a year or two early as it is. Then you got to pay Joe Burrow. They have a lot on their hands. The Bengals have drafted really well, bro.
Yeah, they have, and I think they got a new defensive coordinator. If I remember correctly, I heard something about that. It's not that Lou Amaretto guy anymore. Let me see. Yeah, it's Al Golden, is that his name? Yeah, Al Golden.
Wasn't that like an old Miami coach?
That's what it sounds
University of Miami, yeah.
Al Golden. He was the linebackers coach in 2021, but the last 3 seasons, he was a DC at Notre Dame.
Yeah. Oh, Notre Dame.
There we go. So Shador, what's his pick? It's a 21, right?
21. We need to see the Steelers for sure. That's where he goes, and that might be the second quarterback. And if Jackson Dart's going to go, I think maybe the Rams. It would kind of be a reach, but we know that, you know, Matthew Stafford is at the tail end of his career, or somebody's going to trade back up for Jackson Dart. We had that one trade early. We haven't had any other movement. It's been a lot of smoke about teams wanting to move back, teams wanting to trade up.
I hope not.
Texans didn't trade up. Thankfully, they didn't. I didn't want to trade up for an offensive lineman. Golden is still on the board. I would love a wide receiver. You know, at pick 25, we'll see if he's
Another weapon for CJ.
Yeah, if Golden falls to the Texans, I would take him over the Ohio State guy.
But then did CJ not play with Ibuka?
I think they did.
Yeah, he did.
Pass. Yeah.
So you have that connection there, and who knows? I mean, Casero, I don't know if you take CJ Stroud in opinion into consideration for a draft with something like this. I wouldn't say it's like Chase and Burrow, right? That was way more of a dynamic duo and more
where you only had two receivers you're filling for, while CJ had to throw it to like 4 or 5 guys that could play.
You have to spread it out. Yeah, exactly.
End of the game for the Knicks and the Pistons, 118-116. Knicks finish them off. Pause.
Nice.
Get the dub. Go up 2-1 in the series.
They get home court back.
Well, Bengals pick is in, though, boys. I wonder what they're going to come up with here. I gotta think it's got to be defense here. I think it's going to be corner.
Hey, y'all got the box scoring for El Clásico this Saturday?
Cat 31.
There you go.
Brunson 30.
What about for the Pistons?
Cade 24. Hardaway Jr. hit 7 threes, 24.
Yeah.
That's what kept him in the game then.
Yeah. Schroeder had a pretty good game, 18 points. The Knicks, though, man, I despite what they did this offseason, I still just don't like the way that they play overall. It's still like a lot of Brunson, just like a lot of Brunson. And I think they're gonna end up losing in the next round, whoever they play.
Tibbs only like 6. That's the way it is.
I agree. I don't think that they're deep enough. I don't think that they're deep enough once they start playing the Celtics or the Cavs. The Cavs go like 8 or 9 deep. What about Merrill and Dean and Struz?
All right. Well, after our good commissioner gives the pick for the Bengals, I'll be calling it a night. So we'll see what the Bengals do here.
All right, Roland.
For sure, Roland. It's going to be hard to sleep knowing you drafted an offensive guard.
Nah, man, that'll make me sleep well at night. Honestly.
You're going to feel protected?
Feel protected, exactly. Shamar Stewart. Edge Tech, I'm gonna sleep with a little smile on my face, knowing we didn't reach on something. So
this is kind of a reach, isn't it?
I mean, this is the first time he showed up here, so maybe not. Shamar Stewart.
I know when you got NCAA football and you went to go play, the mode where you get the cards. I don't know what's that mode?
Oh yeah, the
Ultimate Team. He was one of the cards that you get at the beginning, and you're able to upgrade. Yeah. So. They focused in on him, edge rusher out of A&M. I know we had Irvin.
He was part of that big haul, those 5 stars, where it was like 10 of them, whatever Jimbo had gotten with Walter Nolan and all them. He's been part of it. He stayed it through. It's pretty good. He had a lot of production.
Linemen. Yeah, good lot of linemen that went through there. Yeah, I'm honestly interested to see what Seattle does here. Maybe not too interested in Tampa. Interested to see what Denver does.
Running back. We need running back Hampton gone.
Hampton would be nice for Knicks for sure.
Appreciate everybody staying on with us. We are going to hang around to the 25th pick. Roland, thank you for coming through with the draft analysis all day. I love that.
Laters, fellas. You guys have a good one.
Enjoy your night, Roland.
Hope the Texans.
Hey, Roland, the Texans will take the wide receiver you were supposed to take.
I hope the Texans take the wrong guy. I hope they're drafting one guy based off of character. So I mean, we'll go off of that. We'll see. Later.
I hope they trade down. That would be the best thing because Ben would have stayed up all night for nothing.
No, that'd be an
I do hope that happens. All right, that takes the cake.
All right, Ron. Thanks for coming through.
Justin, the Seahawks interest me. So
wait, why do the Seahawks interest you?
Family ties.
That's right. That makes sense.
So prior, I know, what was on their board was Jackson Dart was a possibility for the Seahawks. They went out and they signed, Sam Darnold to a pretty big contract. I think it was 2 or 3 years, but it was big money. So I'm curious to see what they do here. We know that they already have running backs. They have Charbonnet. They have Walker. Their wide receiver room, they did trade DK. Tyler Lockett, I think he's playing with the Titans now. Mm-hmm. So they have JSN. They don't have much of a tight end. I don't think a tight end is.
They got Cup, JSN, and MBS.
They got Cup?
Okay, yeah,
so
they got
Cup and JSN.
Jacob.
So you gotta, You
as
got to
well.
think they either go defense or you go O line then.
Bro, but why
based
don't they
off
go
of-
wide receiver? Like they do need a wide receiver here as well.
Because they just paid Cup. And they
There was
just
a
went
discount, too.
JSN, what, last year or the year before? They just
Yeah,
went
the year
JSN.
before.
They went DK in the second round a couple, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Darnold and Drew Lock at their quarterback, Sam Howell as well. So, I mean, are you thinking Dart here as a chance?
No shot. O-line or defense?
So, are we done drafting quarterbacks this round?
No. Pick 21, I'm very intrigued. Steelers.
Oh, that's right. You're sure there.
I have some camaradas that are Steelers fans as well.
Tashad Eachels wants us to stay around to the 26th
All right.
with the Rams. You got it, pal. We'll do that. Thanks
You
for
got
hanging out with
Markey.
us all night. We do appreciate everybody that's been in the chat all night.
Oh, yeah.
Very grateful for that.
We had Markey in the chat with us earlier. He's another Rams fan.
Yeah, NFC West has got to pay attention here. We got Rick was here earlier, with the Niners. So
Niners, yeah.
a lot of NFC West representation tonight in the chat, which is pretty impressive. I thought it would be a lot of NFC East, but it wasn't the case.
Yeah, we don't have a Cardinals guy, but
we do. Remember?
Yeah, we did, but
yeah,
he didn't end up being that great of a
guy. Don't say that. He might be watching.
I hope he hears this.
All right, here we go. Coming in.
Who we got here? Who we got?
It's always interesting to see the war rooms of all these different teams and how they assemble. Seahawks look a little more bare bones here. Just 2 tables, 2 laptops.
The Seahawks have no fucking clue what they're doing, fam. I mean, they just gave Sam Darnold big money after seeing him piss down his own leg in the playoffs with the Vikings.
Yeah, they're paying him for that regular season, but he didn't do good in the playoffs at all.
Another bridge quarterback, pretty much. They might as well have kept Geno if they were going to do that shit.
Louis saying AFC North champs in the house. The Ravens. What is the Ravens pick? I know they're picking late.
What do you want, Lou? Oh, he did say safety earlier, right? Starks. I think he's from Kentucky. A North Dakota State Gray Zabel. Terrible fucking pick. Guard.
Yeah, it's a guard. He was the number 1 rated guard out of this draft.
Yeah, I won't say terrible pick because these North Dakota State guys, these are the guys that go out there and they're playing in the snow in 18-degree weather with no sleeves.
These are the guys that are in the championship every year. So these are dogs to get right here.
Look at the mustache. Like this guy, he grew up on a farm.
He's corn-fed.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean?
What I was trying to get at in a very more descriptive way. I was going to talk about how he used to bale hay, roll that hay up and down.
He was milking the cows at 5 a.m. You know what I mean?
Cow tipping, and then he'd pick them up after he tipped them.
Look at that motor, though.
So, yeah, North Dakota State, they're known for being, always in the championship. They're not D2, are they, Justin?
They are D2.
They're D2.
They're FCS or FBS, my bad. They always play the Jackrabbits from South Dakota State. It's always those two, North Dakota, South Dakota. Sometimes they'll play each other in the season and end up seeing each other through the playoffs because they got that 64-team playoff that they play.
That was an okay pick.
It was a need. They addressed the need. I mean,
it was all right.
They didn't go flashy. They didn't get Lambo, but we'll see here. Tampa Bay on the clock. We know what Tampa Bay brings with that offense with Baker and Mike Evans. What their biggest needs here will be cornerback, edge, linebacker, wide receiver, and tight end.
I think they're good at tight end. We had that one guy last year that was a beast.
You're with Tampa now?
Well, no, I had him on my team.
Oh, yeah. You're an owner. You're different.
Yeah, I'm a
That's right, fantasy owner.
6TM GM.
Yeah, they got Kate Auden. He really did produce last season for them.
I wouldn't be. Tight end. We won't.
Tight end is probably not their immediate need.
No,
but they do need him.
They'll go something defense. Here, you might see, the defensive back out of Texas. You might see Will Johnson.
Between Will Johnson and Jade, who are you bigger on?
I'm going to go. I'm a Longhorn fan, bro. I'm a Longhorn fan, so I'm going to go Jade.
Shout out Lowdown. We can't repeat what you said, but we love you too, brother. We love you too.
Yeah, we're super careful.
Super careful. We can't get banned again. We already got strikes on Facebook.
Man, bro. What I need after this is pick 19. I need the Broncos to draft Hampton.
Wait, why Hampton? Omarion Hampton, the running back?
Yeah, I took him under 20.5.
Oh, this is for betting odds. Okay.
And then
so
right
what's
after
left on the table? Hampton 20 and Shadur at 21, right?
Under 21.5. So I need him gone
at
21. In the next 2 picks. I took under 2.5 quarterbacks, so I need Jackson Dart to not go in the first round.
Yeah. So, but you can do one more quarterback, right? That's it.
Yeah, we can do Sanders, but Dart
Sanders, but not
tomorrow.
Dart as well.
Tomorrow.
Cam Ward was the number 1 overall pick. All right.
They haven't even showed Dart once tonight, so let's fucking keep it that way. You know what I'm saying? But first and foremost, I need the Texans to take a wide receiver, bro. We can't be wasting our fucking time with O-line like the Cowboys. That shit ain't gonna get it done.
Hey, you gotta protect CJ. You just lost.
We signed some guys.
Left tackle Laramie Tunsil. You gotta protect your teams.
We signed some guys, and we got a new offensive coordinator that is gonna scheme us up to where CJ can handle the offense on his own. Some trust.
Okay.
There was trust issues there. There ain't no trust issues anymore.
Now
and we still went out and fucking handed Jim Harbaugh his ass in his first game back in the playoffs. Justin Herbert, bro. You know, when the quarterback rankings, when we do our quarterback rankings come NFL preseason, we're going to have to talk about Justin Herbert, man. Because I know people are like, I think people for the most part are out on Trevor Lawrence at this point.
But they paid him, so how can you be out on a guy you just paid?
Well, because teams do stupid shit all the time. I'm talking about the general public. I'm talking if I ask you, Justin, what do you think that Trevor Lawrence is going to,
that whole draft class, Fields, Lawrence, all the hype around them just didn't pan out. Not a one of them.
Look, here's my brother in the comments talking about a left tackle. Fuck that, brother.
But he's not wrong. You lost a pretty good left tackle.
There ain't no left tackles left that are worth drafting. We need a prime time wide receiver.
You see what's left at tackle that you could still look at. Josh Simmons is still there at tackle. You got one option left at left tackle that you can pick up. Other than that, you're down.
Let's hope he gets drafted then. Yeah. Because then we get a Bouquet or Golden if Golden is still there. I think Golden could go to the Broncos also. I don't want to see that. I want them to draft the running back, but it could happen.
Real quick, here are the picks that are left. We got Bucks, Broncos, Steelers, Chargers, Packers, Vikings, Texans, Rams, Ravens. Ravens is where we'll cut it for Louis. That's where we'll stay up until.
All right.
So we got a few more picks. Thanks for staying with us tonight as we cover the NFL 2025 draft with you guys.
Putting OT tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, well. All right, so the pick is in. Let's wait for the slow-ass commish. Look, they're showing a lot more of Dion. We got one of those oversized hats in the screen. How do you feel about those oversized hats, Justin? Do you feel like if you get seen in public with one of those?
That's
hold up. Let me land. Is that Wallow?
Or Gilly? It's Gilly. Yeah, it's
Gilly. It's Gilly. He's trademarked that hat pretty much, but it's a Philly hat.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you wear? I've thought about getting one of those hats, but I'm already big as hell as it is, and I think if I'm wearing one of those hats, then I'm just blocking everybody's view. But
I'll tell you what,
you look like an automatic clown if you're wearing one of those oversized hats or not.
Yeah, it depends where you're at. If you take that oversized hat to a sporting event and you're blocking the guys behind you, you're an asshole. Straight up, you're an asshole. But if you're at the carnival, you're at the what is it called, the tailgate, and you're rocking the oversized hat, you're fine. You're cool. You're funny.
Wow.
You don't take it to the game.
Wow. Stolen right from us, Just.
I told you that is the best wide receiver in the draft. I said it. I said it. We knew that Tet was going to probably get picked before them because of the physical and the size, but this is the best wide receiver in the draft.
I did not have the Bucks drafting.
4 years of production I mean, the only reason he came back to Ohio State was because he was going to win a championship, and he followed through with that promise. He could have gone last year.
Wow.
There he is, Emeka Ibuka, another weapon for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, that is sneaky draft pick for fantasy. He produces quite a bit during fantasy. He's going to be a hotter commodity this year for fantasy. Facts. You're not going to get him in the later rounds like you used to anymore. That's it.
Baker and Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky Irving too.
Man, dude, this is like Mike Evans, has 1 or 2 years left in him. Chris Godwin coming out of that knee surgery, rolling in the comment section saying he likes it.
Yeah.
Fuck, who loves it is Baker Mayfield, bro. You got a gunslinger getting a guy who's NFL pro ready, like Justin said, 4 years at Ohio State, considered a technician running routes, does have some speed on him as well. Fuck, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
I really thought y'all had a chance at him. I thought he'd go maybe a little later, but man, It's nice to see him. Really love that kid at Ohio State. We'll miss him. 4 years there. All right, what's left here? Best available. Let's take a look into best available now.
Hampton here. Hampton and then Shador. These next 2 picks, boys, I mean, let's go 2 for 2. But at worst, let's go 1 for 2.
Best grades available. Will Johnson with the 91 still on the board. Jahdae Barron with the 91 on the board. Derek Harmon, 91 on the board. James Pierce Jr., 90 on the board. There's still some defense available. These teams that are picking, though, they're not looking at defense, are they?
I mean, I don't think the Broncos might be looking at some, edge or linebacker.
Here's your chance for running back, Broncos.
This is my chance. This is where I had him going. I hope it happens, partner. I really do. I think the Broncos, they really need running back help. They had Javonte Williams for the longest time. Prior to that,
let me read you the running backs for the Broncos. Jaleel McLaughlin.
Terrible.
Yeah. Audric Esteem project. He was like a rookie, I think, last year.
Yeah.
Tyler Beatty. Blake Watson. This screams we need running backs.
And, prior to Genty blowing up this season, Hampton out of North Carolina was the number 1 rated running back coming into the season in college football. But
typical size, 6 foot, 221. I mean, he's a bigger back.
And he catches the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah. Here's what's available from the running back spot if they are looking that way. Omarion Hampton, Trevion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins, Caleb Johnson, the Iowa running back, who's not bad. Cam Scatabo is available as well. But like I said, I don't think that's a first-round pick at all.
Nah, I think that there's only going to be 2 running backs taken in the first round. I do think Hampton's going to go before the first round ends. Like I said, I really hope that it's here. But I don't think that Henderson goes first round. I know that he was kind of linked to the Chiefs a little bit. I think that would be a reach. I think the Chiefs are going to go O-line.
Yeah.
They have Pacheco. They have Hunt. Man, bro, they took Ibuka.
Well, you still got a chance at Golden. It's not all over. Was Ibuka the guy you wanted more?
Nah, I wanted Golden more.
Yeah.
I wanted Golden more.
You just wanted to have the option of the 2 or what?
And he's faster. Yeah, I thought Golden was going to be.
Golden's a demon.
Was going to be the first wide receiver taken. Honestly.
Yeah. Let me give you an NBA score here: 40-29, end of the first. Memphis is up on OKC. Uno and the Nuggets. 3-0 first quarter right now. Denver's up. We're real early into that game.
Uno.
Man, honestly, like I really like that for Ibuka. He's going into a situation where there's a lot of other options around him where he can produce on and not have the highest expectations. Like he's not wide receiver 1. Like he doesn't have to be the guy. He's going to be able to like slowly grow there. It's going to be nice.
Yeah.
What better of a situation also for Baker? This tells you they're all in on Baker. They're all in on their guy. They went to go get him another weapon.
Yeah, they paid him also.
Yeah. Well deserved.
I think the Bucks also know
out of that hill that is the Browns.
I think the Bucks are also in that situation where they know, like, we're probably just going to have to outscore teams if we want to win, and we know that we can outscore some of these, bigger
NFC
teams.
South teams.
We know Baker's going to give us a chance, so I like it. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I do too.
surprised as hell. I didn't see it coming because I didn't think they needed wide receiver help. But
So just looking into the NFC South for next season, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bucks. You got to think the Bucks, with what they're assembled right now, will be probably the favorites to win the South, at least coming into the season.
yeah,
Last season it was the Falcons, and that didn't really pan out the way everyone thought it was with that quarterback,
Kirk
Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, Penix will be the starter this year. You got Carr, who might not even start the season, and then you got Bryce Young and the Panthers, who, although they look better, and I'm not saying that they might not compete with the Bucks whenever they play them at home, like they might not give them a game or maybe even split, but they're not playoff team yet, and the Bucks are a playoff team.
Man, I like what the Bucks did there.
I think that's going into futures. I think that's going to be a play for me is the Bucks to win that division.
I think so too. That's something to look at.
I think it's between them and the Falcons, and I don't know if I trust Penix like that. I really like Bijan next year, but I don't know if I trust Penix like that.
Broncos pick is in. They are showing Matthew Golden here.
Broncos but he didn't look too happy. He didn't look too happy.
Broncos do need receiver. They do need running back, defensive tackle, center, and tight end as well.
Team with a lot of holes. A lot of holes on that team.
A team that overachieved a little bit as well last season with the new head coach and Bo Nix. I don't think anybody was really thinking Bo Nix was that guy, but the only one that believed in him was their coach and showed out for them in the end. They were competitive in quite a few games.
All right. Whatever happens here, fuck it. We need Shedeur to go next. Okay?
Yeah. How big is this ticket? Are we cashing nice with Shedeur here?
I want to go grab another, well, not right here, but I want to go grab another Happy Dad.
Go grab one. It's going to be a while for this pick to come in. I'll hold the fort down.
No. Let me get this Broncos pick in. Let me see who they picked.
It's going to be a minute.
A minute? Who's this kid? What did this kid do?
I don't know, but usually when they bring these kids in, it's because they did something.
Man, bro, the Commanders, 12-9, and they have the 29th pick in the draft. I mean, talk about Jaden Daniels being the fucking truth, bro.
All right, Eddie in the chat saying, do you really think the Steelers are getting Sanders at quarterback?
100%.
I think if he doesn't go, he drops pretty far.
Wow.
Jade.
They went defense.
So that's two good corners. They are locking down with the defense. That's not bad. Denver got a good defense coming up. They're locking down the pass game here.
Out of Texas, DB. So you got Asante Samuel. Did he
win
Defensive Player of the Year?
They got Hufanga, the free safety, and Riley Moss, and they now add Jade Barron.
All right, let me go grab a Happy Dad. Come back to Shedeur Sanders being QB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, bro.
All righty, here we go.
Give me a second.
All right, so we're looking at what's left. Will Johnson, 6'2" corner from Michigan. He's a pretty good cornerback left. I thought he would have gone earlier off the board, but Jade Barron had a great pro day as well as just an overall great season. Very athletic, had interceptions throughout the season. Good pickup here for the Broncos with Pat Surtain as well. They went defense. Defense wins championships. They got their guy last year with Bo Nix. I like the way this team is being assembled. So good job on them. Still loving the Emeka Egbuka pick for the Bucks, so I feel like that's going to be the pick of the draft at where they got him. Now, most of We Talking About Sports is holding a ticket here where Shedeur Sanders would be picked under 22. So here's a spot for them. We'll see what the Steelers do. Now, what the Steelers need is quarterback, cornerback, wide receiver, running back, and offensive tackle. Last season, they had Russell Wilson as well as Justin Fields. Both quarterbacks no longer with the Steelers. Fields is manning it down with the Jets. He's going to be their number one option over there. And Russell Wilson, I don't even remember where he got traded to at this point. But I want to say, let me see where he was at now. He's with the Giants. That's right. They moved him over to the Giants. So quarterback is a need. Shedeur Sanders is sitting there right now. Here's a chance to get him off the board for the Steelers. Now, with Will Johnson being there, and you know what the Steelers go for, it's defense. Do they go and get the best defensive player who national championship winning defense, part of the Harbaugh brothers team, that national championship, and just anchor up that defense even further? Because the AFC North, you know what it's about. It's tough nose, it's defense. Or do they go and get their pick here and get their quarterback of the future? Mike Tomlin looks happy with whatever they just decided. We'll see who's on the phone on the other end, though. Oh, they're showing Jackson Dart. Do they go Dart instead of Shadur? That's going to be interesting. Let's see what they do. Jackson Dart, of course, his pro day. Everybody loved what he was able to do on his pro day. But don't let him fool you, man. I don't think he's the guy. I've seen him at Ole Miss too many times lose big games. I feel like he's just a bigger Matt Corral with a little bit of a stronger arm. I'm not high on Jackson Dart at all. He had more weapons than Matt Corral did and achieved less than Matt Corral did. We'll see, though. Here we are, Ben. We are, like you said, holding a ticket here. We need Shadur. Tomlin looked like he was very happy with what they were doing, shaking everyone's hands in the war room.
What do you think? Do you think he goes here?
Well, they teased Jackson Dart. They looked at the Jackson Dart household as well. So I think quarterback is getting picked up here. That would be my thing. But you know, Steelers, bro. The AFC North loves defense. Will Johnson's still there. Wow. Sorry,
Damn.
Ben. Sorry, Ben. Derek Harmon.
And look at these fans all happy.
Defense it is. Defense it is.
Oregon didn't even fucking play defense. What are y'all happy about?
This guy's good, though. This guy's really good. This is a good pick for them, man. But that's what I was telling you. These AFC North guys, they will go defense before, and they'll figure out. They'll do it with Russell Wilson, bro. Like they can win stuff with him. Like that's what they're gonna do. Like, wow.
All right, the Steelers are officially idiots. We're taking their team total under. But listen, this is a lot that they're getting Rodgers in. Because why else don't you take the quarterback here? You have Mason Rudolph right now as the only quarterback on your roster.
That's what that means. Rodgers is probably your quarterback. Here we go. Louis saying Shadur don't want no smoke in the AFC North. Louis, I think Shadur is not good enough for the AFC North defense. I'm with you on that, man. I really don't think he would handle that too well.
Wow.
Sanders going to end up in the second round. Edgar, where does he go? Where do you see him going? I think so, too. I think this might be it for quarterbacks. Maybe one more gets picked, and it's probably Jackson Dart.
Do the Browns take him at the start of the second round? And, they didn't get Hunter.
I know.
Wow, bro.
Dude, I really thought that was a spot.
What are the needs here for the Chargers? Do they need
wide receiver, tight end, defensive tackle, offensive guard, and running back?
All right.
I'm looking at some of the reaction. Wow, just what the Steelers needed, more defense.
Fucking idiots.
It is what it is with them.
What idiots. Man, no wonder Shadur didn't show up to the draft. It is bad, but it's great.
I'm telling you, once we saw that couch and he wasn't there no more, he probably got the call like, hey, we're not getting you after all.
But it's great for the under 2.5 quarterbacks first round.
How bad was that interview, bro? How bad was that interview that he's fallen?
Yeah, it had to have been bad. It had
to be all time. Looking real quick at the Los Angeles depth chart here and what they need. Wide receiver, tight end, defensive tackle, guard, and running back. Running backs right now. Najee Harris. You're going to need help. Najee's not good enough alone. Kamani Vidal.
Gone. No, Najee's gone. Oh, Najee's with the Chargers.
Yeah, Kamani Vidal. Hashan Haskins. You're going to need help. Wide receiver, Lad McConkey. I mean, that's a gadget, inside guy. He's good. He produces. Quentin Johnson. A lot of drops last season. A lot of open drops. Very physical. Mike Williams. Wide receivers a look here. Tight end, Will Disley. He was very serviceable a few games last season. So you could look at tight end spot here too. Guards, Zion Johnson.
Yeah, there's just not any other first round tight ends. Like
And Mekhi Becton. Yeah, so I think you go running back here, right?
Nah.
You think Najee's good enough to hold down the fort?
I mean, they just paid him though. Like they just acquired him, so you just went out and acquired Najee, and you're gonna.
Yeah, but it's not. Najee's not a solo back, bro. You don't go get one guy.
I just feel like they need a lot more. Didn't they lose Bosa?
Yeah, they lost Bosa, so defensive tackle is going to be a need for them.
Maybe they still have Mac there, but he's like at the tail end. Yeah,
they got Deshaun Hand. They got Tart. He's not bad. They're going to need defensive tackle. They still got Khalil Mack. They got Perryman and Henley. Troy Dye's there still, and they got Bud Dupree.
And Jim Harbaugh is their coach. So you got to think they want to get nasty. They probably draft something in the
But Jim Harbaugh likes his running backs, bro.
Maybe they go DB and get Will Johnson. I don't see Harbaugh taking Hampton here.
Well, Will Johnson, why not, right? That's part of the national championship team that Harbaugh coached. Why not go and get him on the team?
Hey, what commercials on your TV right now?
IHOP.
Does that bacon look good? No, you don't eat bacon? Alhamdulillah? All right. So you Brittany Renner?
Bacon slabs. Right. Bacon slabs.
Hey, let's just real quick, before this pick comes in, this Saturday, the fights, just main event. The Fighting Nerds are undefeated. You got Prates going against Ian Gary. Ian Gary also hasn't lost, on the come up. I think the winner of this fight has an argument to sit out until they get a title fight, as long as it's not a boring fight, and somebody wins decisively. Well, it's pretty much a pick-em fight. I think it's like -120, -110. So what do you think here? Do you think the Fighting Nerds stay undefeated with the cigarette-smoking Prates? Or
I don't love that.
Does Ian Gary in a 5-rounder outpoint Prates and, keep it going?
If you would have asked me before the fight Ian Gary had against not Hamzat, the other Russian dude, the Russian Chinese dude, he looks so much better than I thought he was going to look.
Against the Russian Chinese dude. That's the guy Bilal was going to beat up.
Yeah. And I don't like the smoking and drinking from pots. Shavkat. I don't like the smoking and drinking from pots. I really don't. He seems like the most distracted of the Fighting Nerds, but the Fighting Nerds are undefeated except the chicks, right? The men are undefeated. This is going to be really good. Give me Ian Machado Gary. I'm going to take Ian.
Rolling like Machado also. I'm going to go Prates, bro. I mean, I'm not a Gary fan, and I'm bought in on this Fighting Nerd shit. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to go and buy the glasses or even a hoodie. I saw he had
they're entertaining as hell, bro.
They are, and he kind of did not throwing shade, but kind of shouting him out. He not like a Make-A-Wish because it was an adult, but he had like somebody who was fighting cancer show up at the weigh-ins and like be a part of his team, be in the picture. Told him, hey, you and your friends tomorrow after the fight, you're gonna come and celebrate with us. Like losing was not an option. So I'm with Prates on this one. I think. It's going to be a stand-up fight, and I think in a stand-up fight, 5 rounds, 5-minute rounds, 20, so that's, 30 minutes? I think Prates can find the chin, bro.
We'll see, man. I think it's going to be good regardless. That's probably the only fight I'm really looking forward to that whole card, though.
The card's decent. Giga's on the card as well against Onama. I mean, Giga's
not really like I must watch. I can watch replays off that.
You will watch it. Or will you be watching the Rockets and Warriors? Because that's much watched right now.
I'll probably have both screens on and just have the UFC on the side until the main event.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Louis says quarterback Shadur will drop in the draft. Jerry will land him in Dallas in the later rounds. I'll tell you what, Louis. Jerry has a chance at Shadur round 2. He's probably taking it. He probably would, knowing Jerry. Like he'll make the right decision for us in the first round and then just make the completely wrong decision for us in the second round. I mean, I believe that.
Hey, I hope the Chargers lose their fucking pick taking this long, bro.
Hey, they took the whole 5 minutes. That means whoever picked before them, that means Will Johnson's not really their guy, because if it was Will Johnson, that pick's in quicker, right?
They were probably looking to trade the pick or some shit.
It would surprise me if they take Will Johnson after taking this long.
Remember when the Chargers had a Valley comedian Mario Salazar announced one of their picks?
Yeah, and he shouted out San Diego, and they were upset with him because he was like, old school about it.
Old school about it. Now we don't know. Justin, expound.
Well, it used to be the San Diego Chargers before they were in LA, and so
he said San Diego instead of LA?
Yeah, he shouted out San Diego on purpose because he was like, move them back, And honestly, they should have never moved them to LA. They feel like just the other team at this point. It doesn't look good. Edgar says, Nambe, Cowboys are all in on Whack Dak.
Edgar,
Dak's putting in that work. Lost a lot of weight for the season. I'm giving him another shot.
Edgar's got the nicknames down, I'll tell you that. He's got
Yeah, you know what, Edgar? Let me get another nickname. Let me get a nickname for Shadur. Let me see what you
Edgar
come up
will
with.
get you a nickname, bro. Let him loosen up his red tie, and he'll get you a nickname for anything.
Why does he got a red tie?
Well, I don't know.
Does he wear a hat?
Hey, well, in the picture today, the only reason I knew that I wasn't Ron, because Ron and I looked very alike in the little cartoon image that we released
for the thing.
Yeah, but I was like, nah, I'm not a tie guy. So I saw Ron with the red tie, and I saw the other guy without the tie, and I was like, yeah, I think that's me. But you and Roland, man, spot on, dude. Like,
I thought my guy looked all right. I thought I looked like that.
Identical, bro.
Let me get you some updates here in the NBA. Second quarter, Memphis up 61-37 on Oklahoma City.
Damn.
First quarter, Denver 24. The Clippers dipping as usual, 24-19. 4 minutes and 20 seconds in that game.
Uno's gonna get off as soon as I turn it on.
Yeah.
Watch. No pause.
What do you think about the spacing where we're having to see two NBA games at the same time in the playoffs? You think they're messing up with that?
I don't like that they put the Clippers on NBA TV today. I thought, although here comes Memphis winning a game and shit.
All right, picks in. Like I said, Omari Hampton, running back. I said Najee was not enough. Sure enough, they go and get their running back. Jim Harbaugh, known for having running backs and using more than one.
Good call.
So there it is.
Good call there. This guy's going to be a stud, man.
I think so. This is really good for him. He's going to a team that will feature him and run the ball at least 20 to 25 times for him.
Why would they pay Najee, though? I don't think that they're going to feature him.
No, they'll feature him. Who did they have last season? They got him from the Ravens, the Ohio State kid from the Ravens.
Dobbins.
So Dobbins is out.
Always hurt.
Yeah, they'll feature this kid. They'll feature him. Green Bay's up. That is where the draft is being hosted. Right. Expect a big cheer, regardless of what trash they pick up.
I have a breaking news on the NBA front. Shams, Jimmy Butler diagnosed with deep glute muscle contusions. His status for Saturday in serious jeopardy.
Yeah, that fall, he bounced off the hard floor. That's on Draymond. Draymond pushing Amen into him. And look what happens. You hate to see it. Jimmy was having kind of a resurgence this year, looking like playoff Jimmy through two a little bit, and now he might be out.
He certainly resurged the Warriors because their season was looking like playing or bust at one point. And man, this is a rivalry. The Warriors and the Rockets, it dates back to Harden and Mike D'Antoni. It's a different Rockets team. The Twitter streets they're on fire right now. I mean, like, the blocks are hot.
You're front running. Y'all are front running. I don't know.
No, people are calling Amen a dirty player.
Nah, he got pushed into Draymond, man.
Well, I'm just saying, we're out in the streets defending that he's not a dirty player. It's unfortunate, but for a team and a fan base that defends the dirtiest fucking player to probably ever lace him up in basketball, in Draymond Green, and a team that has benefited from Zaza Pachulia landing in Kawhi's landing space. They've benefited from Chris Paul's hamstring. They've benefited from Kyrie Irving's knee. They've benefited from Kevin Love's knee. I mean, this team has benefited from everything. So the fact that they're fucking crying right now is music to my ears, bro. And I'm glad that in this new era, the Rockets are actually the bullies against the Warriors rather than being
Credit to your
punked
coach because he's
by
really
Draymond.
turned that
The cul-
franchise around
It's
and
like a
quick.
quick culture change, though, bro.
Culture,
It just
I mean, wow.
you have fucking Jalen Green, bro, who is soft as hell. Now throwing elbows at Draymond probably should have been a flagrant two,
He
and
was.
he should have been ejected. But nobody on Harden, PJ Tucker, he would have been the only one to maybe throw an elbow at Draymond, but not even that. Like Clint Capella ain't doing it. This is a different Rockets team, bro. You got the Warriors bitching about physicality playing the Rockets. That's different.
They don't have a hill to stand on, bro. Really, really don't. Looking at the Green Bay Packers here and what they need the most: cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, and defensive tackle. I'm gonna look through their depth chart for you real quick and see what we're looking at those positions and why they need to fill
I
holes.
hope they don't take Golden. I know
All right,
they have a bunch of different wide receivers. And
cornerback, offensive tackle, receiver. So let's look at corner. They got Jair Alexander. He's been hurt lately. They need to move off him probably pretty soon. And they got Keyshawn Nixon. So that is an option to get Will Johnson here. That would be an option for them as well.
So the draft is also in Green Bay. You know what I mean? So this is pretty cool for the Packers fans.
Looking at wide receiver, Christian Watson, hurt. Mecole Hardman, always hurt. Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks. It screams receiver help, man. It really does here. Right? Get Jordan Love some help. I know you don't want Golden, but there's other receivers available.
The thing is, if they take Golden here, we're taking a fucking lineman then, bro. And I didn't fucking stay up until 10 p.m. to fucking draft a lineman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, Luther Burden, all available as well at receiver if it's not Golden.
No.
You got to think it's got to be wide receiver. Look at the names I just called out for the Green Bay Packers. Their best option is Christian Watson.
But didn't they just
hurt.
take like Jalen Reed recently, like pretty high in a draft?
Yeah, who's hurt? Romeo Dobbs hurt. I mean,
but they've been spending a lot of capital. This is also a team dating back to Aaron Rodgers.
They don't need
never drafted a wide receiver first round, so they have a reputation for not taking wide receivers in the first round.
The other option is corner, and one of the best corners of the draft is available, Will Johnson. I mean, we saw what he did in that national championship, complete with shutting down Washington. He's still available there.
And I hope they don't take him.
If they go edge, James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, he did drop down. According to Ben, there were some character issues that came out.
Yeah.
But before that, he was like a top 5 rumored pick.
He's fighting a case. But the Packers also have a very good edge rusher. One of their defensive ends or outside linebackers, they recently drafted him too, maybe a year or two ago.
Oh, Rashawn Gary?
Gary. Yeah, was he out of Nebraska?
No, that's a Michigan kid.
Okay. He's a beast.
Yeah.
I knew he was from one of those Big Ten schools.
He is from the Midwest. You knew that.
Man, look at that crowd, bro. Like, imagine having to go to the bathroom and you're chilling for,
Forget about it. You're
up
just
there,
pissing
like,
right there.
You're pissing yourself. Like, that's wild, fam.
Bro, pissing yourself is crazy, but where's the restroom here? I mean, you got to do something.
We are adults, so pissing yourself is, like, out the window because we're adults. But there's situations like there. What are you going to do, bro? You're going to take the hour and a half hike to go to the bathroom? No shot you come back and find your seat. So you either have a gallon and you're relieving yourself, or you're just pissing yourself.
Yeah. No, but look, it looks like you can get out. I mean, look.
No, you paid a lot of money to be in there. All
right, pick is in. Crowd is starting to get hyped. I'm sure they're going to do something special since it is in Green Bay. Who's going to announce it? Will it be Lil Wayne?
Weezy already got on the stage.
I'm just saying, famous Green Bay fanatic. It's a little weird that he's not like a Saints fan. You know what I mean?
Look at that, man. So many people.
Man, I think you just take the shot on James Pierce here.
Anybody but Golden.
Ben, if we don't land Golden, it'll be Kelvin Banks or Donovan Jackson. Kelvin Banks is gone.
Listen to Edgar with Banks, bro. Kelvin Banks went number 7, Edgar. Kelvin Banks was a top 10 pick, bro. We didn't trade up. That's a
Edgar missed that part of the draft tonight.
But he was all up for trading for an offensive lineman. We ain't doing that shit, bro. We're not the Cowboys.
Eddie Martinez says Draymond, dirty player, 100. Absolutely.
The dirtiest, Eddie. The dirtiest.
Absolutely. That reminds me, let me give you an update. End of the first. Clippers now up 35-28 on the Nuggets. They are favored in that series.
Uno must be balling.
Good to see there. I'd rather play the Clippers than the Nuggets, I think.
The Saints, the New Orleans
Memphis,
Saints.
67-40. 27-point lead on Oklahoma City.
Wow. Read me the box score there, Justin. Who's balling for Memphis?
All right, for Memphis, balling out 15 points, John Morant. Scottie Pippen Jr., 21 points.
Nice.
5 for 6 from the three-point line. He is hot beyond the arc.
Okay, so Memphis in a gentleman sweep in 5. All right.
They had to get one, right? You knew they were getting one.
Well, I didn't know. I'm not going to lie to you.
You would think they were getting one.
The Thunder just looked very good, and Memphis looked very bad. Come on, man. Let's get on with this fucking pick that nobody cares about.
It's too much pageantry for me. I mean,
Probably
I get
another Michigan player, if probably. Yeah, Edgar Banks went top 10, bro. The Saints ended up taking him, right, Justin?
Yeah.
Texas boy went to go play in New Orleans.
Roland says here they go wide receiver. Roland, I was talking about that earlier with Christian Watson being their best guy. He seems like he's always out. Mecole Hardman on this depth chart, always out.
No wide receiver. No wide receiver.
They have aging defensive backs. Will Johnson is here.
Yeah, take him. Fuck, he went to Green Bay. People fucking ruining picks for me, bro. The worst thing ever. Golden, you think he's going to be able to play in the snow? No shot.
What I tell you though, Ben, what I say, it was going to be
terrible.
Wide receiver. I said it. I don't love this for him. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't love this for him. A Texas kid in the snow like that. But he's going to get it done. He's going to get it done. All right. Golden's out, Ben. Got to retool here. Where are the Texans looking?
And the stream. Cut it.
Offensive tackle?
Cut it.
Now, I promise we'll go to the Ravens for Louis, and we got one more guy waiting for the Rams, so we got to get at least to that. But where are you going to retool now? You're looking at what, offensive tackle now?
Would you say Simmons is still out there?
For what?
A lineman?
All right, let's go to offensive tackle. Josh Simmons still available. The offensive tackle from Ohio State, 6'5", 317. Pretty reliable for Will Howard all season. Josh Connolly Jr., I mean, if you're not getting Simmons, don't pick another tackle at this point.
Dude, this is
not in the first round.
This is the first wide receiver taken in the first round for the Packers since the year 2002.
Out of character for them to do it. But it was a necessity, given their depth chart and all the guys that are constantly out. Dude, if you would have told me after the national championship that Will Howard would be part of a draft, Will Johnson, my bad, would be part of a draft and not be picked within the first 10 picks, I would have said you're lying. Yet here we are at 20, what are we at, 24, and he's still on the board. It is surprising to me that he dropped off this much.
The Vikings are a prime team for DBs. The Texans, unfortunately, we just got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We signed Derek Stingley. We have Lassiester from Georgia a couple years ago. I mean, our DB room is full, but the Vikings could use some defense and certainly
got them hype, bro. They got their guy. All right. Let's look at the Vikings and what they need, the Packers here. He got the crowd hyped. Vikings and what they need: cornerback, offensive guard, defensive tackle, safety, and wide receiver. Cornerback available would be Will Johnson. That's
How
the
do
best
they need wide
available.
receiver? This might arguably be the best wide receiver room in the NFL, and there's
Let's
no
see how
shot.
much depth that wide receiver room is. They do got an amazing number one, but do they got a good 2 and 3?
They got
Let's
Jordan
find out.
Addison at number 2, and then they got that other dude at 3, like Polk or I don't know. I forget what his name is. Look, who's this here? This Golden?
So here's their wide receiver room: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Jalen Naylor.
Naylor, there you go. Yeah, you don't take a wide receiver in the first round if you got that wide receiver.
Yeah, it's not their most immediate need, but they do need to have some depth there. They probably want to address cornerback. That's probably where they need the most.
The pick is already in, so yeah, it's probably Will Johnson with the pick already being in.
Look at these cornerbacks that they have right now: Ambry Thomas and Isaiah Rodgers. Absolutely, they're going to take the corner here.
What do you think about? What are you seeing here with Golden? Like, is he locked in on football, or is he?
Yeah, he's locked in. He's that dude, bro. You see him when he was tearing us up when he was at Houston. He's that guy. All right, a little update. Almost getting to halftime. Memphis now 71-47 for Oklahoma City here.
At halftime, they have 71?
Almost there at halftime. 1 minute left. As far as Denver and on the Clippers up 42-28 now, 14-point lead.
Roland, the feeling on JJ McCarthy is he's going to have to show me. I mean, I don't think that they have like that good of a run game. Who's their running back now in Minnesota?
It is Aaron Jones, the Green Bay running back.
Well, he's decent, but he's older in age. I still think McCarthy's going to have to show me. He looked decent in the preseason. We've seen a lot of guys look decent in the preseason. He's coming off of a knee surgery. Yes, arguably has one of the best wide receiver rooms. And, with Addison and Jefferson is both guys where you kind of just have to throw it in an area, not necessarily right at them. And they'll go and pluck it out of the air. So he does have, he does have that advantage, but he's got to show me, bro, because that Michigan team, even when he was a quarterback, it's not like they were an air raid offense or, a pass first offense. They played heavy off the run.
They played power half the time.
With that great running back that they had. Yeah. And played
Donovan Edwards, who fell off completely after Harbaugh left.
So,
McCarthy's the only quarterback listed for the Vikings, so it's all in on him. They don't have a 2 or 3 on the roster as it is.
They need to go Will Johnson. Hey, bro, I couldn't be less happier for a fucking Texans pick right now, bro.
Yeah. The only way that it could get worse is if they trade their pick at this point. And you just stayed up for nothing.
That would honestly be better.
No, because you would stay up for nothing at that point.
Well, but right now there's nothing that's even going to keep me up. What the fuck are we going to do? Draft an offensive lineman and I'm going to go to fucking sleep like a miserable Cowboys fan?
What do you all need?
We need O-line. Fuck, man. At least we didn't trade up, but I wish we would have traded up for a wide receiver at this point. If I knew that both of them were going to get taken, and then who the fuck? And then here goes the guard. So
okay, but the tackle's still there. The tackle's still there.
What tackle?
The Ohio State tackle.
That was the Ohio State guard.
No, Josh Simmons is the tackle that you all wanted.
We didn't want him, but we're probably going to end up taking him.
You're going to end up taking.
That's like 3 Ohio State guys that are going to go in the Houston trade pick to New York. Fuck yeah. Boom, we're out of here, baby. Let's go.
I said this would probably be worst case scenario for you, and it happens.
Oh, I loved it.
What does New York do? Shedeur?
You said this would be worst case scenario, Justin, but I said best case scenario.
Yeah, but I said that earlier, and look what happens. Are we doing Shedeur here now? Do we finally get Shedeur on the board?
Or Jackson Dart? No, they liked him more.
Yeah, I heard they liked him more.
If they're trading back in, it's probably for a quarterback. They already took their defensive end. But I'm happy the Texans didn't pick here.
All right, biggest needs for the Giants: quarterback, wide receiver, defensive tackle, offensive guard, and linebacker. A lot of holes to fill here. But your number one option, quarterback, you're bringing in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, as well as who? Ben?
Who? With Russell Wilson?
Tommy DeVito. Those are your three quarterbacks that you're bringing in. Here's a chance for Dart. We got Gilly on the cams with the big hat. Shadur's room's lit. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Just. I'm so happy the Texans traded, bro. Here, let me read out the details. I got the details of the trade right here. Texans, Giants get the Texans' first-round pick and give the Texans second-round pick number 34. So one of the top picks in the second round, probably where we go Luther Burden or some other wide receiver. 2025 third-round pick, 2026 third-round pick. So a second and 2/3 to trade up to number 25. They were picked 34, they traded up 9 spots. They gave up a second and 2/3. I love it.
All right, we're still on the clock here. Look at Golden. He is being paraded around like he's the next biggest thing for Green Bay. Good for the kid. Still, I'm pretty shocked here that Will Johnson's still available. I mean, this kid was generational. He was locked up, and he's still here. Whoever he falls to at this point is going to have a steal. I thought he was like PS2 graded. That's how high I thought of the guy.
Let me tell you something, though. Golden being taken by the Packers just tells you that was the Texans' pick.
Yeah, 100%, because why else would they trade down at that point?
Why else would they trade down at that point?
They were almost there. And you know what? They already went and got CJ Stroud. Remember, they listened to him and they went and picked up the kid. His name, the one that got hurt.
Tank Dell?
They went and listened to him already. But you don't think that CJ was looking at Golden and saying, we need this guy?
CJ Stroud didn't have any input on Tank Dell. I mean, they never
he did.
Together. No.
Yes, the reason why Tank Dell got picked was because of CJ Stroud.
No.
He told front office, go look up. That's a whole documented story. He put the front office on to Tank Dell. He wanted to play with him. He's been very vocal about who he wants to play with. I'm sure Golden was on his list.
Well, bro, I'm sure Abuka was on his list.
Yeah, that's too. That was probably number one.
This is bad. I mean, but I'm just glad we didn't take a fucking lineman, bro. I mean, that's what I didn't want to do.
All right, the chat is saying Dart was on the screen. Roland says Dart looked happy. Texans are like Jerry Jones now. And Pinche Casario wheeling and dealing like a used car lot on 23rd Street in McAllen. All right. And Eddie, you're confirming CJ did with Tank. They were chatting in the DMs. There you go.
Got to keep the DMs open.
Yeah. CJ's actively recruiting. I like that about him. Roland, I don't know if he has early confirmation. He's saying, damn, it's going to be Dart. Roland might be on Twitter with some early confirmation for us here. So look for that Dart pick. Giants pick is in. The tweets are in, Roland says. So we're looking at Dart next, right here.
Hey, bro, let's just go over 2.5 QBs, man. That means Shador needs to drop to round 2, Roland.
Yeah.
Does anybody trade back up for Shador, Roland?
No, I don't think you trade up for Shador. You just don't. You let him fall to you at this point in the second round early. Like, he's going to come to you. Why you give away some of your farm to go get him when he's going to be available at round 2?
Because I feel like Dart would have been available round 2 also. So why did the Giants not just stick around?
But this is where teams get itchy. Where like another guy fell, I need to go get it. They get that FOMO, and GMs will reach out and do stuff like that.
Well, man, I'm just glad we.
All right, halftime update: Memphis 77, Oklahoma City 51. High scoring game out of Memphis. Second quarter, 8 minutes left. 48 for the Clippers. Denver Nuggets 34.
Yo,
watch that one on NBA TV if you're not watching with us tonight.
Big Uno. Oh, we got another trade. Falcons have traded the number 26 pick. So
Jackson Dart looking pretty happy here, man.
Damn, we did get a lot of trades here in the back end then, huh? Or what? We got one trade early with the Jags, then we got the Texans trading back and the Giants trading up.
Pick is in. Let's get these picks in. We promise to stay till the 27th pick. We got 2 more picks after this one to share with y'all. 27 is where we'll cut it at the Ravens so we can celebrate with Louis and see what he got. Hopefully they pick and don't trade down. I'm sure Louis can tell us what they need. Probably receiver, I'm thinking,
They
right?
need a fucking new QB is what they need, and that is clutch. Spit it out, Goodell. Jackson Dart.
There it is.
The tweets were in, boys.
6'2", 223 Ole Miss quarterback. He got to play in the SEC for 2 years under Lane Kiffin. Had some good wide receiver talent around him. Did pretty good for the most part. But in the big games, they really never achieved. I feel like
New York
players really fell in love with him, or teams really fell in love with him during the pro day when you saw how strong that arm really was.
Damn, Shadur, no wonder he didn't show up to the draft, bro. This is worse than Aaron Rodgers.
Shadur, at one point, Shadur was a top 5 pick. How bad was that interview that really just dropped him out completely? Because everyone said he was top 5.
Los Angeles trades the pick to Atlanta.
Damn, we stayed up for that. And now, so the guy that was in here with the Rams, we're sorry they traded down. You probably didn't need a pick early anyway here. All right, Edgar says Giants really love those white quarterbacks. Yeah. Roland Zamora says Izzy day 1, referring to Shadur Sanders as Shadur day 1.
I hope not at this point, Roland. That over 2.5 can cancel out the under 21.5. Fucking Steelers, bro. What losers the Steelers are.
Eddie says, Ben, you made me wait to see what the Texans were going to pick, and they traded. Dang.
Eddie, I'm happy they traded Eddie because there wasn't shit to take here, Condon. Nothing at all.
I thought you had a shot at the offensive tackle. Again, I am still shocked. Will Johnson on the board. Wherever he falls to is getting the steal of the draft at this point in my eyes.
We'll probably be able to get that tackle with the Giants pick in the 2nd round, though, Justin, unless the Chiefs take him.
What is up with Will Johnson? Did some sort of health alert come out on him? It does not make sense that he's fallen this far.
So how many picks do we have left in the 1st round? 5?
All right, Roland says, no Dart as a starter with the coaching GM situation. Are they going to try and play the rookie and get more time? Yeah, they're probably playing Russ. I don't see them playing Dart right away. That's why you go get Russ. But, I mean, they're loaded at quarterback depth. They got Jameis Winston, too. He's a locker room guy. I mean, he's obviously not going to start over Russ, but I guess you just want that around them. I really don't know why they got both guys. It didn't make sense to get both.
Well, I wouldn't call it loaded either, though, Justin.
You know what I mean as far as, like, they got 3 guys where you go to the Vikings and the only quarterback on the board is JJ. Like, there's no 2nd and 3rd yet. I'm saying they got the roster filled, not loaded as far as talent-wise. Giants fumbled on Sanders, Edgar says. The curse for Sanders is retiring his jersey number.
Plus, they retired Hunter's jersey number also, and he went number 2.
Yeah, and he went early, so maybe that left a lot of but Hunter looked generational while Sanders never really did. He never really popped off on any game film where you're like, look at that, they're winning this game because of him. While there was plenty of that for Travis Hunter. There really wasn't a lot of that for Shadur. He felt like a game manager at that point, and he wasn't the best game manager either.
And, the Falcons pick is in. They could be taking Shadur. We know they love drafting quarterbacks.
Yeah. Penix last year, Shadur this year. Who knows what quarterback they would get next year if they do.
Mike Vick.
All right, Baltimore will be our last one. Louis, are you still in the chat? Let's see what you want specifically.
He wanted Starks. He said Starks.
Starks?
But dude, now that Will Johnson is there, like that's a Baltimore pick.
Starks was the safety out of Georgia. What happened with Kyle Hamilton? Don't y'all got Kyle Hamilton?
Look, yeah, they do. Number 44. This might be Johnson right here, though. These guys need defense. Here we go. Here's your guy, Just.
There you go. He fits their team really well. That's a really good pick for them. I'm glad they moved up for that. I mean, this guy, before that case came out, he was looking like a top 5 pick. They were talking about him.
Who did they
He
take
had a lot of
with their
production
first
for
pick?
Tennessee.
This is the Falcons' second pick, no?
Yeah, that's their second pick.
So they took Pierce and they paired him with, did they go offensive lineman?
Let me see what they took first.
Wow, we should have done that fucking trade. They got one of the Falcons.
They got Walker,
first round.
Jalen Walker. So they are loading up on defense. Wow.
Look,
Not a bad draft night for the Falcons.
The
I mean,
Rams,
getting Pierce this late is not bad at all.
the Rams in that trade, though, they traded back and they got a first-round pick from the Falcons in the future. So, I mean, that's also like Penix isn't guaranteed, or we don't know that they're going to be a winning team. We know they have Bijan, and, you know, it's not going to be all on Penix, but getting a first-round pick from the Falcons could be, you know, a decent pick.
Look at this kid. Strong off the edge. Great balance. Really like what the Falcons did. They didn't need any more offense. They could do it with their defense now. All right, last pick here. We do appreciate everybody who was with us tonight. Everybody who was on here contributing in the comments. Thank you for that. Let's get this off with a bang. Let's see who gets picked up. What does Baltimore do? You know, Baltimore's known for their defenses. Some pretty good defense available. Do they go that route? What they need most: defensive tackle, cornerback, offensive guard, edge, and receiver.
They need it all, partner. 77-51. What are the Thunder doing?
Halftime. 54-40, 14 points down now for the Nuggets. 4:07 left in the second quarter.
Yeah, this is let's see how many points Uno has here, boys. What do you know? Uno leading the team with 15 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 3 of 5 from
So
three.
for the teams that have picked 2 times, the Giants and the
East.
Falcons here, who's drafted you like more? Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart, or the 2 defensive guys, Pierce and Walker for the Falcons?
I like the Falcons because I think both of those guys are starting, you know, week 1 of this coming year. Whereas Jackson Dart, I don't see him starting this coming year. I think that maybe after this year, Russell Wilson probably has 1 year left in him. You know, I'm not the biggest Russ fan, so I understand the Steelers, you know, moving on from him. But for the fact that both guys are going to be playing week 1 for the Falcons, I like their draft a little more right now. Although I do think that Abdul Carter has a better chance of being defensive rookie of the year over both of the Falcons' defensive picks.
What about offensive rookie of the year? You think Cam Ward's going to lock that up early? I mean, he's probably going to get started right away. I don't think Tennessee's got anything else.
He is going to get started right away, but I mean, it's still debatable that they could be the last place team, last place team in the division. So I don't know about that. I mean, you got to look at the running backs also. You know,
Genty's going to be there with featured.
You know, the Raiders, since they're in Vegas, they're going to.
These are tickets we're going to start looking at pretty season. So, boys, if you want to follow along for that, we will talk these tickets at some point.
Yeah,
we're already getting the hamster wheel rolling to see what we want to do.
And I mean, and at the same time, like, I know it's a deeper roster, but we've seen tight ends like Sam Laporta get Rookie of the Year. Yeah. And you see the Bears draft somebody like Loveland, And you got to think, well, how effective is he going to be, right away?
And they got a coach that loves tight ends.
And you got wide receivers that are not going to have, the defense just zoning in on tight ends. So I think that the offensive rookie of the year is kind of open, just because I still don't see, the Titans winning a lot of games. I don't.
All right, here's some info. Will Johnson didn't run a 40 during the process, Roland. That's probably why he's dropping at this point then. I mean, if you would have showed me, if you would have told me, like I said, after the national championship game, Will Johnson was getting picked outside the top 10, I would have said, no way, no how. But here we are. And maybe it's because of that. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's banged up. There was some games he didn't play this season. Granted, they had a horrible season this year for the Wolverines. So what do you want to see tomorrow for your end, Ben, for the Texans? What do you want to see them pick?
A wide receiver.
Yeah.
Let me get this guy's name, bro, because
Luther Burden's still available for wide receiver.
Yeah, but give me the
Higgins.
Iowa State.
Iowa State is Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel.
Noel. I like Noel a lot more than Higgins.
All right, Noel is 5'10", 194. He is a pro comp with Khalil Shakur. While Higgins, he's got Nico Collins pro type, 6'4", 214, a big receiver. Y'all need another big receiver.
I don't think we need another big receiver. I think
So Jalen Noel probably a little similar to Tank Dell, as far as being smaller on the inside.
We need to go receiver.
Y'all have Christian Kirk too. I mean, do y'all need another small receiver?
Yeah. What's Luther Burden's measure?
Pro comp? All right, see 6', 206. Stephon Diggs is pro comp.
See, all right. I wouldn't mind Luther Burden.
Dude, Luther Burden at Missouri was really good for 3 years.
I don't think he's a dog, though, bro.
He's a little more finesse than dog, but he's good.
But so is Stephon Diggs, so that's why that comp makes sense.
Why not Isaiah Bond? You're not in on Isaiah Bond?
Nah, I don't like the case.
4.3940.
Nah. Here's the pick. These guys are probably going defense.
Pick is in, Lou. Where we at?
Lou's probably pissed they didn't take his guy, huh? They did. That's exactly who he wanted, Starks.
I'll tell you what, Lou knows his team. Lou knows his team.
Georgia safety, probably a terrible pick, Lou, but fuck it, you got what you wanted.
He had an 87 grade. He's pretty good. Probably the best safety that was available at that point, too. So,
what about the South Carolina safety?
I think this one's better. I want to say he also had a better grade than the South Carolina safety. Derwin James is a pro comp for the Carolina safety, 6'3", 220. Not bad. Not bad of a name to be pro comp with.
Yeah, give me 6'3", 220. This is a
all right, boys. We do appreciate y'all hanging out with us all night. About 3 hours deep into the stream. Had a lot of fun with y'all.
Probably our longest stream ever.
Yeah, it might be a record. But we'll probably be back next week. Getting into the NBA playoffs, probably Tuesday, and see where we're standing with some of these. It seems like these 1 seeds are clearing up for the most part. Gentlemen sweeps at worst.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. We should be back like Tuesday, like Justin said. That should be every team should at least be playing a game 4 by Tuesday. So, we got 3 of the series in the West at 1-1. You got the Thunder at 2-0, but, the Grizzlies are up 17 right now at half. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Peace.